And we are live. Is Octavio an Orthodox Jew? I need to rectify the title there a little bit. My bad, guys. Uh, Typing a little bit too quick. Muslims and pro-blacks want to know. We're waiting for the Muslim. You know what I mean? Salute to the pro-black, to my pro-black brother over here. You know what I mean? He's standing on business, as men do. If you're going to say something, you have to back it up. And as usual, I'm here, always ready to confront whatever people got to throw at me. How you doing, my brother? Salute to you. What's going
Salute
on,
to
bro?
you, bro. How you doing?
I'm great, bro. I'm great. I've been, you know me, bro. I love this. I really do, man.
Shalom, my brother. Shalom.
Shalom, my brother. Shalom. Yeah, they're part of the heritage, so I cannot complain, bro. I cannot complain. Christians did come from them, so salute to them. Salute to them. Yes, my bro. I want to know what's going on. Please, to me until what do you call it? Some guy called just passing through and quick reviews. Until that person actually has the heart, you know what I'm saying, to actually show up, and show some courage as a man. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what's going on with you, my brother. Why am I being this? Even though I'm Catholic, I think everyone in the podcast right now knows that because I kind of repeat it every day just to make sure people are listening to me. I want to know why is it that my pro-black brother and my Muslim brothers would actually call me a what was it? Orthodox Jew. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Well, obviously, it's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, statement. But really, what this whole conversation is going to be about is what I consider to be this very strange loyalty that Christians, particularly Catholics included, have towards those who profess to be Jews, who follow Judaism. Because, and I'm going to share my screen and show you just a couple of videos which kind of really, which highlight to me why I find that strange. Why I find it strange why so many Christians, in my opinion, cape for Jews, a group of people that have shown disdain for Christians up to this day. And guys, don't take my word for it. I'm going to share my screen now and just kind of give you a couple of short videos just to kind of
when you're ready, bro.
When you're ready. Is that okay, Nelson?
Bro, please, man, feel free. Share as many videos as you want. Yes, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
100%.
So yeah, so I'm going to start with this one first.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a minute. Right.
Hassan says shalom, but I feel like telling them.
Can you see this, Nelson? Is my screen sharing?
Hold on a second. Add to the stage. Let me add that to the stage, bro. Hold on. Yep.
Okay. So just for context, everyone, these are Christians in Israel. And I want people to see how they're being treated by people here who call themselves Jews. Right. So I want people to understand what happened there. You saw a group of Christians holding the cross. in Israel, a place where Jesus died and was resurrected, according to what Christians believe. I believe it also. This is a place where, a holy place for Christians. Yet you saw Jews there not only spitting on the Christians, not only spitting on the floor, but spitting on the cross. Okay, I want people to just take a moment, I want Christians to kind of take a moment to really analyze what happened there. Because let me tell you this, if anyone else was to do such a thing, Christians would be in there. I mean, the condemnation would be wide. The condemnation would be wide. If a group of Muslims did that, if a group, I want people to imagine a group of Muslims spitting on the floor, spitting on the people and spitting on the cross. What would Muslims say? Sorry, what would Christians say about those Muslims? What would they call them? How would they view them? How would they treat them? Okay, so I just want you to think about that. Here's the second video. Just give me a second. Second video.
Hold on. I'm
Right,
just.
here we go. Here we
Man,
go.
and I believe in Jesus. Am I wrong? Yes. No. Tell me. I'm not going to be offended. I just want to know why and have an intellectual conversation. Okay.
It makes absolutely zero sense because you're Jewish. You should learn about your own roots first.
I'm a Jewish man.
Okay.
I believe in Jesus.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Tell me how.
Can I hear what Yeshua was?
What's that?
That story?
What's that?
Said you had a Yeshua 5 years ago.
An experience. Yeah, salvation story.
Can I hear about one story?
More about the story? Of
Yeah.
course. So 5 years ago, I had an encounter with Jesus that I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting it. I was miserable, depressed, anxious, and suicidal. I'm a Jewish man.
Okay.
I believe in Jesus.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
Okay.
Oh, Nelson, again,
Mm-hmm.
what you're seeing there again is a very clear rejection of Jesus. And I want people to recognize that to Catholics, Jesus is God. To other Protestants or other denominations, Jesus is the Son of God. However, to Catholics, Jesus is God. So essentially, from a Catholic point of view, Jews are rejecting God. They're rejecting the creator of the universe by rejecting Jesus. So I want people to also think about that. Lastly, this is my last video, and I'll let Nelson respond. Just give me a second. So this is the last one I want to show.
Yes, bro. As many as you want, bro. As many as you want.
Last one.
Mm-hmm.
He raised people from the dead. Well, first of all, he didn't. Yeshua did, but that's another discussion. But even if you say, well, I don't care if he made a whole new world out there with a new moon and it like suddenly appeared next to our earth, we still wouldn't believe in him. You know why? Because even if he does the greatest miracles but leads us from the Torah, according to the Bible, he's a false prophet. Because the Jewish people will never follow a Messiah, ever, who takes us away from the law of Moses, which is why Jesus Christ is rejected by Jews today.
So there again, not only is Jesus rejected, they not only reject Jesus as a Catholic, reject God, they literally consider Jesus to be a false prophet. A false prophet. I mean, again, I have to, I'm just completely baffled as to why I don't hear more condemnations from Christians, particularly Catholics. Why is there such a support for a group of people who not only reject Jesus, but have disdain for him, and put him a false prophet. Over to you, Nelson.
Okay. Thank you for those questions, my brother. I appreciate it. The answer is very simple. First of all, the Jews are doing nothing. Okay, let's be clear about one thing. Jesus was a Jew. The apostles were Jews. The disciples that came after were Jews. So this is not a situation where the Jews rejected Christ. Well, yes, some Jews rejected Christ. Did all Jews rejected Christ? No. There was a split in the religion. So some Jews believed that the Messiah had arrived and fulfilled the law. Remember, this is the same Messiah that these Jews are currently waiting for. All right. And some Jews didn't. And we can all, speculate as to why that is. Why did some Jews reject it, and so on and so forth, and why some didn't. So the people that started the Christian religion were Jews. Let's be clear about that. All right. Okay. Another thing that we have to address is the fact that you cannot have Christianity without Judaism. All right. They are spiritually, historically interlinked. Even to this day. Why? Because the Jews are still waiting for the Messiah, the very same Messiah that they were waiting for before Jesus Christ arrived himself. So that caused the great split. Are they ever going to get a Messiah? Of course not. They're not going to get a Messiah. The only thing they're going to get is a chance from God to repent, and that's pretty much it. That's all the Jews are going to get from God, because the Messiah has arrived. Now, you said, how would Christians react towards Muslims spitting at Christians? If Muslims were spitting at Christians right now, how would Christians react to it? You know what? That's very interesting, my brother. Very interesting. You played a couple of videos, and salute to you for that. I want to play some videos too, because I want to show how would what Muslims think, because you brought up Muslims. So I thought it's only right that we see what Muslims think of Christians. And then I'm going to answer that, but I have to play this video. I think it's only fair I do this. So just bear with me for a moment, please. Just hold on a second for me. Hold on a second. Hassan, I'll add you in 2 seconds, just setting up this video. Just passing through, just showed up.
Yeah, because I think when it comes to the Muslim aspect, San definitely
yeah. No, I hear you. I just want to, because I'm only bringing up Muslims because you brought up the Muslims. So I thought, it's only correct, it's only right that I address the Muslims. And then I'm glad that brother Hassan is here. He's a Muslim himself. Remember, guys, they created this thumbnail for me. Yeah. Hold on.
Sahih Muslim. So no Sunni Muslim can really argue against Sahih Muslim or Sahih Bukhari. Rasulullah said, don't greet the Jews and the Christians before they greet you. And when you meet any of them on the roads, force them to go on the narrow side of it. And Imam Malik, he said the same thing as well. In fact, Umar ibn Khattab, who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that if there was to be another Nabi after me, it would be Umar ibn Khattab in his own charter, not charter of United Nations, in his charter with the people of Sham, with those Christians of Sham, in his charter was Kafir and Muslim, they're not allowed to wear the same clothes as one another. If the Muslim, he comes out on the day of Eid and he sees Kafir with nice clothes, the Kafir has to take his clothes off and give it to the Muslims. The Kafir, when he walks inside the street, he has to wear a red belt around his neck, and he has to have his forehead shaved, and he has to wear two shoes which are different from one another. He's not allowed to walk on the pavement. He has to walk in the middle of the road, and he has to ride on a mule. And that's only for the adults, not for the children. And you can see how Islam would make the child become a Muslim. The kafir or the child growing up in a state of kufr, he will turn to Islam. Why? Because the child will be walking along with his dad. They say, Dad, yeah, why you got your forehead shaved? I don't know whether these Muslims they make me do it. Why you got to walk? Why can't you ride the animal like the Muslims? They walk like ride the animal like this. Why are you walking with both legs dangling on the side of the donkey? Why is it every time the Muslim comes to you, he asks you for your clothes, you give it? Why is it every time he tells you to get down from the horse, you have to take it? And not only that, he said the kuffar, they can have their churches. They can have their churches, but they're not allowed to ring the bell. And if a Muslim, he's walking by, let's say, for example, a Muslim's been on Edgware Road, for example. He's had some nice shisha, some nice steak, no hubble bubble. We don't deal with anything like that. And he's walking along and he's rubbing his belly and he's like, oh man, you know, I don't want to upset my wife tonight. What he can do, he can go to the church, knock on the door. John, let me in. Okay, no problem. John has to put up Abdul Ghafoor for the night. Abdul Ghafoor with his big belly, having his nice kebab. John has to open up the church and he has to go there and sleep there nice and comfortable and say, all right, John, thank you. And then carry on going early in the morning.
Yeah, I think you guys get the picture. All right, okay. Let's address this. Okay. What was the question again? I'm just trying to remember how Christians react.
Can I quickly respond, or do you want to go ahead?
I just wanted to make my point. First of all, my point is very, very, very simple. Okay. How would Christians respond? Christians respond usually. Well, no one pays attention to it. That's the first thing we have to mention. Yo, bro, have you ever heard of a site called Open Doors?
No.
Yeah. No, yeah. Most people haven't. And the reason why they haven't is because they don't actually care. The reason why they haven't is because they are not actually interested in the persecution of Christians. And I'm not just saying by Muslims alone. I mean, even here we are seeing, of course, it's not at the level that Christians are being persecuted in Muslim countries. But anyways, Open Doors, what it does is it's a website that it basically tracks all the violence against Christians. Okay, and it's not just about Muslims. Most of them are Muslim. Most of the violence towards Christians is from Muslims towards Christians, and it happens in Muslim countries. This is why you see year by year Muslim Christians decreasing, the number of Christians decreasing in Muslim countries. So how do Christians think? We are outspoken about it. Does anything get done? Absolutely nothing gets done. We are still dying. As you saw, even within our talks, when I first put up the 70 Christians beheaded, there was complete silence in the chat. No one gave 2 Fs. So the thing is, usually what happens is when Christians protest against the injustice towards Christians around the world by Muslims, no one cares about it. All right, that's the first thing we have to acknowledge, and this is a fact. The Western governments definitely don't care about it because they sold secularism and liberal ideologies. So that's a fact. All right, so they are anti-Christian too. So it's not just the Muslims that are anti-Christians. So are the Western liberal secular countries. As Two-Tier Starmer put it, he had the chief of police greeting the English people, Assalamu alaikum. So let's just be clear about that. All right, no one actually cares. You said the Jewish people will never follow a Messiah who rejects the Mosaic. Bro, you're not saying to me that's nothing new. Do the Jewish people who rejected Jesus at the time of Jesus will reject Christ? Yes, that's absolutely true. Why do we support them? Okay, that's the question. Why would we support them? We support them because, first of all, they are part of our faith. The God of Abraham, the God of Jacob, the God of Moses is the same God that we see in the New Testament. So, regardless, let me bring it down. Let me bring it to politically why. The Bible does speak of a revelation that mentions the Jews coming back to Christ again and repenting and going back to Christ. The Bible does talk about it. Church fathers do talk about it. So this is something that we hope for. Okay. Another reason why we support them is because, first of all, that's the Holy Land, right? Muslims are dying to kill all the Jews in that Holy Land. That Holy Land does not belong to Muslims at all. At all. All right. And they've been for 1,400 years trying to take over that land. That can never happen. All right. That does not belong to them. Historically speaking, bro, you just go read what historians say. You go read the history, you go read all of that. You know that what they're trying to do is take over a land that does not belong to them. And that would be my answer. I don't want to keep dragging on, but I want to hear what you guys got to say.
So I'm just going to respond, and then I guess Hassan will come in. So a couple of things I just want to highlight, which kind of is how we got here in the first place. I do find it strange, and this isn't something that just Nelson does, but I see this happen whenever this issue comes up. Instead of addressing the anti-Christian sentiment rife within the religion of Judaism, there's this knee-jerk kind of attempt to immediately defer to Muslims and talk about the anti-Christian Muslim hatred, which is evident. There's no doubt about it. You showed the videos there. But to me, that's part of the problem, because we're not really talking about Muslims here. We're talking about Jews. We're talking about Judaism, and I thought it was also strange to say that there's some type of link between Judaism, the current Judaism practice now, and Christianity, because I can't understand how there could be a link when the very God, well, let's just go with the Catholic religion, the very God that the Catholics believe in as the Almighty God, Jesus, is the very God that the Judaism says is a false God, is a false prophet, is not divine. Ben Shapiro called him just another Jewish criminal that was revolting against the Romans. This is the way that they view the Catholic God that created the heavens and the earth. So how there could be a link between those two faiths is beyond me. Nelson also mentioned the Holy Land of Israel and how the Muslims definitely don't belong there, but the Jews do. And you quoted some type of scriptures or history that suggests that. Again, how can the Holy Land belong to the people that reject the very God that created it as a Holy Land? Jews do not believe, Catholics believe the Holy Land is holy because Almighty God, Jesus, determined the land to be holy. Jews reject Jesus. They reject the very God that has deemed the land holy. How can the people that reject the God that deems the land holy be the God's chosen people that reside there? It doesn't make sense. And it's almost like a cognitive dissonance, because there's no way any Christian, in my opinion, can have any reverence towards a group of people that not only reject their God, they blaspheme against their God. Because let's put it clear. What they're saying about Jesus is blasphemy, according to the Bible and according to the Catholic tenets. It's blasphemy. To call Jesus a false prophet is an act of blasphemy. So are Catholics saying that blasphemers have a divine right to a holy land? That doesn't make any sense to me. The only people that will have any claim to that holy land, according to the Bible, will be people that accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior. That is the chief requirement for a group of people to set in that holy land, an acknowledgement of Jesus. If you're not acknowledging Jesus, you have no right to the Holy Land. So by that conclusion, the people there right now do not have claim to the Holy Land. So if Nelson is bold enough to claim that the Muslims definitely don't have any right to the land, nor do the people there now. According to his beliefs, they shouldn't have a claim to the Holy Land. Or land there.
Let's hear from Hassan. Let's hear from Hassan. Hold on, Hassan. Before you say anything, just want to acknowledge Aaron McKay is in the chat. Shouts to you, Aaron McKay. He says, "And where do the Jews say Jesus, peace be upon you, is now?" According to them, I think they say is burning in a hell of like shit or something like that.
Wow.
That's what the Talmud
Blasphemy.
says.
Heresy and blasphemy.
That's what the Talmud says. Yeah, we don't pay attention to the Talmud, but yeah, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's in a good mood because it seems like it's a bit tense. Just to have a more
not tense. We're having a very pleasant discussion.
I think you've been
with Rabbi Octavio here.
Yeah, I think Shalom, Rabbi. I put my profile picture as of a mixed race Jew just to say that I come in peace. You know, I have nothing against mixed race Jews.
Hey, man, why are you talking shit about mixed race Jews, man?
No, I love him. Drake's.
Huh? What was that?
I'm a Kendrick fan, but this guy's all right, man. He's all right.
That's a good one,
African guys, bro.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think for me it's a light topic. It's not a major issue. I think it's really shows, from in my opinion, the level of I don't want to use harsh language, but it's the language that comes to mind first, which is the hypocrisy.
No, keep it harsh, please.
Yes, keep it harsh,
no
please.
Can take it. No one can.
Don't hold back. Listen, if you guys hold back, I'm not gonna listen back to this.
That's not me. I'm not harsh unnecessarily, or accidentally. I'm intentionally harsh, and there's no need for me to be harsh or because it's a good topic. I think it's an important topic. I think it's the elephant in the room in my mind, anyway. Not to a certain degree. Because you can have the example of the video that you played of a guy referring to the Pact of Umar, which just goes against what you said a minute ago, that the Muslims never owned that land, although they had it. Logically speaking, if there's a Pact of Umar, it would give evidence that the Muslims actually control that region and protected the Jews at that time, and they could have killed them at any time in the past 1400 years or so. And in fact, you can literally Google the golden age of the Jewish era, where Jews seek refuge in North Africa and throughout the Ottoman Empire, or wherever caliph at the time that preserved them. And I've heard you speak to Jews directly who tell you that.
Sorry, Hassan, can you just clarify that last point that you made about the Pact of Umar and Jews? You said it proves something. What did you say it proves?
Okay, yeah. So I think you said the Muslims want to own that land, and if they were given half a chance, they'll kill all the Jews in the world. And they've never owned that land, is what you said. And I've said to you, well, they've owned that land before and they've controlled it. The Pact of Umar is one example. Another example would be the golden era of the Jewish. The Jews refer to a time when they lived under Muslims as the golden era of the Jews. So the idea that Muslims, given half a chance, would wipe out all Jews is historically not true. They've had opportunities before, and they've actually preserved Jewish life and Jewish culture and Jewish history. So, and Jews would tell you themselves. So that's just a comment that I made on what you were saying, listening to your monologue that you made a minute ago. But you can respond to that in a minute. But the point I'm making is it's strange to see some Christians that would bypass whatever atrocities that the state of Israel conducts against a particular people, the Palestinians in this case, overlook the hatred of, and I'd like to play you a video of Jesus within the Jewish tradition, because by definition, anybody who remains a Jew and rejects the Messiah sees Jesus as a heretic, a blasphemer, a man who's calling himself God. They refer to his mother as an adulterer. Everything the Pharisees said, or the Jews at the time that went out of their way to see the persecution of Jesus. You talk about the persecution of Christians, and not just you, a few Zionist Christians as well. in the Muslim world, but the persecution of Jesus himself was conducted by a particular school of thought within the Jewish community. I'm not saying there should be hatred of Jews. I'm saying why the double standard? Why peace and love and Jesus spread peace and Jesus did this opposed to Muhammad and so whatever it may be. And then that argument just gets thrown out the window when it comes to the state of Israel. I worry that the idea that Jesus will come if the Jewish state is established and faces no competition, and it's okay to abandon the teachings of Jesus because as soon as he comes back, everything will be flipped and turned. I think it plays into the hatefulness that some people have in their hearts and their desire to distort scripture to suit some self-serving fantasy that they are going to see Jesus come down to earth or something. I don't know. But there were some videos I wanted to play, if you don't mind, before you respond to the points I'm making, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
And yeah, I'm not so passionate about this topic, but it does seem odd to me to hear Christians say repeatedly, the Muslims hate us, we hate the Muslims. But if a Jewish, and again, there's a lot of anti-Semitism within the anti-Jewishness within the Christian people, amongst the Christian people, of course. But it's strange. It's an oxymoron to me to call yourself a Christian and then support the persecution of a particular people or the uplifting of a people that to whatever extent that goes against the teachings of Jesus. Let me just play the videos for you. 1 second. 1 second. Give me 1 second. 1 second.
Does that mean you're gonna take a long time?
No, literally. Let me.
Shouts to Aaron McKay. He says Jews are closer to Muslims than Christians are. Just because some Muslims say wrong things about Jews doesn't mean that Muslims want to kill Jews. That's Zionist propaganda only in the last 100 years. Aaron McKay, just to answer your thing there, I don't really care what a Jew says about a Muslim or what Muslim says about a Jew. I care about what the scriptures, what your scripture says about the Jews, what your scripture says about the Christians, what your scripture says. That's what I care about. And I'll be. Let me just clarify one thing before I play the video that Brother Hassan just put up. And I don't really care if you don't like my religion. That's neither here nor there. We are the biggest religion in the world, and will continue to be. The point, my only thing, because we are the truth. What I care about is whether your religion is out here telling your people to go and kill our people. That's what I care about. If you say I don't like Jesus is burning in shit, I don't care. I don't care if you feel like that. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. During the judgment day, you find out another way. You find out differently. My only issue is if your religion is starting to start talking rubbish and saying you're going to kill those people there, we have big issues, big issues. That's my only issue. Your opinion of my religion, I couldn't care less, bro. Hold on.
Okay, so this, based on what you said, this video is not that important, but I'll play it anyway because I had it in mind.
How can I not be happy when I see millions of goyim bow down to one Jew tonight? When they took their religion from the Jews, this foolish Christianity that they invented, they took some things from Judaism and developed lots of nonsense on top of it. But even their religion came from the Jews. Even their Messiah is a Jew that was kicked out of yeshiva. Still a Jew. And Christmas Eve. Tonight it's becoming Yoshke's birthday. Even though it's total nonsense because they started Christmas 300 years after Christianity started. They didn't have Christmas. They didn't have New Year's Eve. They don't have any other days. After 300 years, they made up 2 events. Nothing to do with him. But they don't even know it. They think it's really his birthday or whatever. He said to him, tonight is my happiest night of the year. Rabbi Berkovitz said to the Goy. And he looked at him and said, why? He said, it's our holiday. It's a Christian holiday. Why it's your happiest night of your year? He say, how can I not be happy when I see millions of goyim bow down to one Jew tonight?
Okay, so thanks for playing the video. I'll let you respond and say what you're gonna say. Again, I'm not trying to misrepresent Jews. I just want to add that I'm not trying to point out Jews to be abhorrent. I'm just trying to. My objective is to point out the double standard in Christian Zionism. That's my objective.
Okay, quite a bit to respond there. I'll be honest with you. Okay. It's quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie. Chris, just quickly to respond to this Jew that was talking. We didn't take nothing from the Jews because it was the Jews that started the religion. That's the first thing. So that's the first mistake he made. As far as Christmas goes, when it comes to Christmas, we've got he's talking about they invented Christmas 300. This is a lie. We've got church fathers talking about Sixtus Africanus. We've got Tertullian talking about when Jesus was born as early as 170 AD. So all this nonsense is so rubbish. Like, again, I don't have an issue with him having an opinion about Christianity and how much he doesn't like it. It really means nothing. Why? Because pro-blacks have one, atheists have one. Everyone has an opinion on what they like and what they don't like. Don't care. I care about the truth, and that's it. And that's all. Hold on a second, guys. Yeah. Another thing that you said, Jesus preached peace. I'm working back here. As I said something, Jesus never preached peace. He preached division. And all you have to do is look at one of one of the passages in the New Testament where Jesus says, I did not come to bring peace, I came to bring division. Okay, so the father will be against his own son, the mother will be against her own daughter, and so on and so forth. All right, because that's what the truth does. The truth divides people. All right, so he says something like Christians will bypass the atrocities of the Jews against the Palestinians. No, absolutely no. What the Jews, the reason why there's, and I think JM also brought this up, the relationship between the Jews and the Christians have to do with the scriptures. It has to do with, listen, Jesus was a Jew. How many times do I have to bloody mention this? It's like I'm talking to a brick wall here. Jesus was a Jew. The apostles were Jews. This was a Jewish movement that believed in the Messiah. Unless you guys don't understand what the scriptures is let's not have the conversation. Why? Because the Jews are waiting for a Messiah. The Jews of today, all right, are waiting for a Messiah. The Jesus was the Messiah that the Jews 2,000 years believed arrived. Okay, this is the same Messiah that Muslims claim, okay, has arrived. All right, so Jesus is a Jew. The apostles were Jewish. This is a Jewish movement. So why do we support why do we support the Jews? We support the Jews because there's a relationship. It's not whether they reject us or not. That we know they're wrong for rejecting Jesus. And the Bible does speak that they will come to convert and become Christians again. And this is why we preach the gospel around the world. It's not just the Jews that reject Jesus. This is why we preach to Muslims. We preach to everyone that denies Christ. Okay? Because we want everyone to eventually, but the Bible specifically talks about the Jews that have rejected Jesus, that they will one day come back. So why do we support them? First of all, we support them on a political level. Why? Because Hamas is a terrorist organization. Okay, it's Hamas's fault. All right, that's the one reason why we support them. What they are fighting is called a just war. Hamas on the 7th of October did what they did, and now it provoked the war. So at the end of the day, that's what we support, and we support anything that is just, regardless. All right, and the Muslims, all the Muslim nations around the thing have made it clear that they want to wipe out the Jewish nation. All right. And these historically Christian countries, which are no longer historically Christian countries, they are now secular, have turned around and said, you know, we're going to support them. I'm surprised that they still have that dignity since they have sold their souls to the devil for liberal feminist ideologies. But nevertheless, they have decided to support Israel, and rightfully so. Okay, our connection to the Jews has to do with the fact that the God of Jacob, the God of Abraham, the God that these are the same. This is the same. Jesus is the same God. Okay. No, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I don't care whether the Jew says, "I reject Jesus." It doesn't matter. It really does not matter whether they say they reject Jesus or blah 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 blah. The Jews at that time accepted Jesus as the Messiah. The prophet Isaiah, prophet Jeremiah, all the prophets prophesied Jesus. Okay. The Old Testament prophesies about Jesus. So what some misguided people got to say about who Jesus is to us means nothing, because we are looking at the bigger picture. So we don't care about some idiots rejecting Jesus. That does not mean we're going to reject them for the ignorance. If that was the case, then we would stop preaching to Muslims. We would stop preaching to atheists. We'll stop preaching to anyone. Guess what? Because we'll stop preaching to pro-blacks because they've all rejected Jesus. Okay? So we'll stop preaching to Jehovah's Witnesses because they've all rejected Jesus. So the reason why we are still preaching, we are still holding on, and we're hoping they convert and they become better people, is because we care about the truth, and we understand that people don't just become Christians overnight. You got to keep preaching to them until they actually convert. Okay, so that's the reason why. Hold on, bro. I'm just going through. Are Catholics saying that it's okay for Jesus to blaspheme? No, it's not okay. First of all, rejection is not necessarily blasphemy. They're just saying I reject Jesus. Wow. Now, Talmud, does the Talmud blaspheme against Jesus? But the thing is, to blaspheme, you have to first of all believe in Jesus. You have to at some point believe in Jesus, but they've rejected Jesus outright from the very beginning. So they've said Jesus is not the real Messiah. He's not the one that's supposed to come. So at the end of the day, it's not really blasphemy. Do we interpret it as offensive? Yes, it is offensive. But I can't. If you were a believer and you said something bad about Jesus, then I would understand. I would be like, okay, cool. You know what? Yeah, he's blaspheming. Christians have the same God as Jews. How can there be a link? It's a link because Jesus Christ was a Jew. He was prophesied in the Old Testament. There was a Jewish movement. It's like that's the reason why there's a link between us and them. There's no link between us and the Muslims. The Muslims came 600 years and they literally perverted the scriptures. I mentioned Muslims because you brought it up. Okay, yeah. Let me just respond. You said the only reason why I mentioned Muslims is because Brother JM here brought it up. That's the only reason why. If he had never brought it up, I would have never played that video. He brought it up, so I played the video. And before you go, bro, let me just I'm finished. Let me just just read Brother Aaron McKay messages. He said, when did I say I don't like your religion? I'm different to Judaism and Christianity. I wasn't speaking specifically about you, bro. I wasn't attacking you personally, so don't take it like that. Islam does not say the things you claim, only when you take verses out of context. Well, maybe one day you can come here and tell me what I've taken out of context, and then we can sit down, because I actually do due diligence. It's just that people don't want to show up, and they don't actually have the heart to do it. So I can't hear that, bro. By the way, I have no idea what is the context of the stream with regards to Octavio being a Jew or whatever. This Brother Arabake, this is an internal joke. As you know, I'm being attacked by Muslims and pro-black guys who hate Catholics and hate Christianity. So, but that's who I mingle with. These are my brothers, and I'm here for the truth. So I'm here to listen to them and see what they have to say, because I'm all about the truth and we have debates. So that's the reason why. But it's internal. It's to do with what we talk about on our WhatsApp group. And you're welcome to join, bro. You're welcome to join. Go ahead,
okay.
Jay.
So first of all, there was a lot there. I want to start first of all on your false definition of blasphemy. The definition of blasphemy is not determined by someone believing in Jesus. I can prove this in the Bible. For example, the Jews literally said that Jesus himself was a blasphemer for calling himself the Son of God. Clearly, they did not believe in Jesus, and they were accusing Jesus of blasphemy. According to the Bible, the blasphemy means any act, word, or thought that insults, that disrespects, or denies the divine nature and attributes of God or the Holy Spirit. There's no predetermination that the person has to believe in Jesus to blaspheme. Hence, the religion of Judaism is a blasphemous religion according to the Bible. According to the Bible, the religion of Judaism, the same religion that Nelson is saying has a claim to the Holy Land, the same religion that Nelson is saying has some kind of a link with Christianity, the same religion that Nelson is claiming has some kind of continuity with the Jews in the Bible, that same religion is blasphemous. Nelson keeps trying to kind of present some type of continuity between the Jews in the Bible and so-called Judaism now. There is no continuity. They don't believe the same things. The Jews in the Old Testament and New Testament, they believed in Jesus. According to Nelson, they even believed that Jesus was God. Scripturally, clearly they believed that Jesus was the Son of God and that he was divine. So again, the religion of Judaism that's practiced now has absolutely no link, no continuity, and no bearing with what the Jews of the Bible believed. This is a separate faith. This is a separate belief, completely cut off and alienated from the original Jews and what they believe. Therefore, the adherents of that religion cannot be seen as being in any way, shape, or form forebearers to what was happening in the Old and New Testament. There is no continuity. So to suggest that the people that believe in Judaism now are somehow in need of reverence, which is what Nelson is doing, reverence towards Jews, because he considers them to be some kind of kin to Christianity and to the Jews of the Old Bible, is a false concept. To suggest that a religion, and Nelson also keeps doing this thing of individualizing the blasphemy. Always just one idiot talking. Always just a bunch of idiots talking. No, it's not just one idiot or a bunch of idiots. It's a whole religion. And the inheritors of a whole religion are blasphemers. The inheritance of a whole religion believe that Jesus was a false prophet, believe that Jesus was a criminal, believe that Jesus was not divine. This is a group of idiots or one idiot. This is a whole religion called Judaism, which believes this. So the idea that this is some random philosophy that a few people believe and we should just ignore them, etc., that's a false representation of what's really happening. Okay, this is not just a few people, this is a whole religion that believe this. So the idea that there should be any type of connection between Christians and Jews is completely nonsensical. The only people that understand this are the actual Jews, because they make it clear we have no connection with those guys. That's why they spit on the cross. That's why they spit at Christians. That's why they say that Jesus is a false God and a false prophet, because there's no connection. They have no connection with you guys. You are like the red-headed stepchilds looking for your daddy went to the shop to buy cigarettes and coffee and milk. And I find that strange. This is what I don't understand. Is it because you have more hatred for the Muslims that you're caping for the Jews? Is that what this is about? Because if that is the case, that's not Christian. That's against Christianity to defend people who are blasphemers, killing people and other people on earth. You talk about a holy war and a just war. You would never suggest that Muslims can engage in a just war, but you are contending that a group of blaspheming people who consider Jesus to be a false prophet can engage in a just war. The concept of a just war comes from the Bible, okay? The concept of a just war comes from the Bible, and it's referring to people who believe in Jesus Christ, adherence to Jesus. That's where the concept of a just war comes from. So for you to suggest that these people in Israel are conducting what you call a just war, again, is anti-Christian. They are not conducting a just war according to your own beliefs. They don't believe in anything within the Bible that's attributed to a just war. Because by that same logic, you can say that Muslims can engage in a just war too. Because both of them are go against, in your eyes, both of them go against and reject Jesus Christ. In fact, Muslims even consider Jesus to be a prophet. They don't consider him to be a false prophet. So by your logic, they have more right to engage in a just war than a group of people that completely reject God, your God, and reject Jesus Christ as a false prophet. So I want really Nelson to really let us like break down why those people in Israel now who reject Jesus, who have no continuity. I forgot the word now. There's no link.
Continuity.
Yeah, there's no link between them and the Jews of the Bible. These are not the same people. These are not the same people, the same beliefs. They believe something completely different. How on earth can you consider them to be able to partake in a just war, which is a biblical reference? So I land there.
Hassan, do you want to go?
Yeah. So JM pretty much summed up my thoughts and feelings on the issue. I guess I probably wouldn't be as harsh, but it is so strange and disingenuous an argument, and I see it as nothing, to be honest with you, as the hatred of Muslims, which I'm okay with. I'm Muslim. We have people that hate us, and it's a part of our existence. You know, we are a persecuted people, as the Christians like to profess, or the Catholics like to profess, although they show up at the wrong places at the wrong times for some reason. I don't hate Christianity. Muslims don't hate Christianity. We just want you to follow the truth, you know, to accept that Jesus wasn't God. He's just a man with a message, you know, was persecuted for his troubles. It is, it's nothing but disingenuous, in my opinion, because everything that the state of Israel is conducting does go against the Christian beliefs. And if a Muslim was to do that, they would be alive on it. You know, for example, Azerbaijan, where there are less people that died, in fact, literally in the hundreds of people that died, and majority of them were soldiers, in the conflict between Azerbaijan and the Armenian Christians, funded by Israel, but that never gets mentioned. The idea that, well, you did mention it in your live, but the emphasis was the Muslims are the ones persecuting Christians, and there was no other suggestion about how Israel was supporting them and Israel's involved, Israel will send weapons. Because the idea is that if Israel wins, somehow Christianity wins, even though Israel goes against Christianity in every way, shape, or form. As Andrew Wilson stated in his debate with, what's his face? Apostate, whatever his name is, AP, that the idea of the Jewish state is to bring about the Messiah. He did come. He came 2,025 years ago, but they rejected him. So the idea that he would come back now and that they would accept him doesn't make sense. And if anything, the prophecies were suggested a false Messiah would be the head of Israel. So biblically, in terms of ignoring whatever random rabbi says, using the scripture and scripture alone, wouldn't it suggest that they will be more inclined towards accepting a false Messiah, an Antichrist, and that's the Islamic interpretation anyway, that there will be a false Messiah and he will come and there will be people who will follow him amongst all peoples, not just the Jews, amongst all peoples, and he'll be false. But my other observations, as far as the certain disingenuous perspective of the Jewish, as a Christian Zionist, is even in this example that you gave, the Pact of Umar, that this is what Muslims really think. If you accept the Pact of Umar, you have to accept the Talmud, because Umar was not the prophet of Islam. Umar was a caliph, and the caliphs did make, had their own issues and such. There were many conflicts at the time after Prophet Muhammad. So to focus on him and his situation and ignore the Talmud, the works of rabbis who have a prominent, or their work having a prominent influence over the Jewish tradition as it's now today, is disingenuous, I think. And I find it, as JM said, like a kid waiting for his stepfather or something along those lines. They said there's a certain level of self-hatred involved, or lowering oneself to the idea that the Jew is by nature superior to the Christian and to the non-Jew, to the point where, yes, it's fine to kill. The Christian cannot kill. The Christian cannot commit murder. The Christian cannot actively pursue non-combatants, but the state of Israel can. And if it does, it's either ignored or perceived as a mistake. And I think Apostate said, "Oh yeah, Israel made mistakes and so on and so on, and what have you, but we'll forget about all those mistakes and such," which is just goes to double down on how Christianity really goes out the window when it comes to the state of Israel. Second point I wanted to make, or my last point, because I'm sure you want to say a lot, and I'd rather have a back and forth than go on a monologue, because I'm forgetting a few things. You said Muslims want to wipe out Jews. This is not true. This is not true. Okay, yeah, there was a conflict in the 1960s. It did fail. But the idea that Muslims want to wipe out the Jews when they have today signed pacts and agreements with Israel, a great number of countries supporting the state of Israel, a great number of countries normalizing relations, even to the point where the Muslim community is questioning their intentions and their leadership, because the Jews, the state of Israel is killing children consistently, as you can see online now. Morocco signed agreements, Sudan signed agreements, UAE has signed agreements, Saudi Arabia would have signed agreements if it wasn't for Hamas. So the idea that Muslims want to wipe out Jews when they've had Jews living amongst them for 1,400 years, preserve them, maintain them, giving them strength when they were persecuted in Europe throughout the Crusades and so on, and they couldn't have killed them. This is just it can't be true. But carry on.
Hold on, just one last thing that I'm writing. Just one last point. Okay, all right. So, hold on a second. There's a verse. So hold on. So I'm just writing. Yeah. There's a verse in Islamic scriptures that says to kill all Jews. Hold on. Scriptures that says to kill all Jews. So yeah, it comes from the religion. Scriptures to kill all Jews. Yeah. So last one. And shout outs to you guys, man. You guys are really trying. Okay. For the audience out there, for the guys that are going to listen to this live, you have to understand one thing about JM is coming from a racial perspective. He doesn't like the fact that the Jews living in Israel are white.
That's not true. That's not true. Don't say things that
are not guys, true. Man. I haven't interrupted. You can do.
No. But I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't do a
false characterization. It's not fair.
That's a false premise.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
All right.
Yeah, that's not fair.
There's a lot of stuff that,
so you have
there's a lot of stuff that you guys
withdraw that statement. It's not
no,
true.
never. There's a lot of stuff that you guys have said that are completely false premises and ignorant.
Let me clarify.
I knew it. Go on. Since I can't speak,
it actually has nothing to do with color. As you know, I don't believe the Jews have any specific color. So, some Jews can be white, so it's nothing to do with color.
You're just slandering him. It's
yeah,
just,
absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you carry on.
Can I carry on? Okay. JM is coming from a racial perspective. He hates the fact that the Jews living in Israel are white. He would prefer them to be black. And if they were black, he would actually be against Islam. He would be supporting them. And he would, hey, there you go. He would be supporting them. So this has nothing to do with JM actually knowing what the scripture says, because if he knew what the scripture said, he would actually not be making the arguments that he's making when he talks about blasphemy. Is absolutely 100% wrong. The reason why the Jews picked out stones and were ready to stone Jesus, it was only because he was a Jew and he was saying things that were blasphemous, such as calling himself God, equalizing himself to God, making himself equal to God. That's the reason why they picked up stones, and they even said, even though you're a human, you're making yourself God. So, for example, if a Jew heard another person saying something else about, the Romans all the time, the Romans always portray themselves, the emperors always portray themselves as God. The Jews didn't really care about that because they already knew that these people, don't follow the Jewish religion. So blasphemy is really confined to your own religion. If you're a person who claims to believe in a certain religion and then you go against that religion by saying something that goes against that religion, that's when it can be considered, like, for example, I am God, knowing that human beings cannot be God. Even when it came to Jesus forgiving sins, they also had an issue with that. Only God can forgive sins. How can he say he forgives sins? So that would be blasphemy. That would be considered blasphemy. The same. Hold on a second. I was trying to write as much as possible because you guys were talking a lot of rubbish. There's no continuity between between Jesus and the Jews and the Jews. Again, this shows what you call it, my brother's ignorance on the scriptures. There's plenty of continuity, and I'm going to read Romans 11 again. This is what I'm saying. I hate having to do this because this is boring. We should be past this now. I do not want to be ignorant of this. Is, by the way, this is not me speaking. This is Paul speaking. I do not want to be ignorant of this mystery, brothers and sisters, so that you may not be conceited. Israel has experienced a hardening in part. Israel has experienced a hardening in part until the full number of the Gentiles has come in, and in this way all Israel will be saved. As it is written, the deliverer will come from Zion. He will turn godlessness away from Jacob. And this is my covenant with them when I take away their sins. As far as the gospel is concerned, they are enemies for your sake. But as far as election is concerned, they are loved on account of the patriarchs. For God's gifts and his call is irrevocable, just as you who were at one time disobedient to God have now received mercy as a result of their disobedience. So they too have now become disobedient in order that they may too. So they too have now become disobedient. They're talking about the Jews. So they too have now become disobedient in order that they too may now receive mercy as a result of God's mercy to you. For God has bound everyone over to disobedience so that he may have mercy on them all. Now, I mean, if that doesn't highlight, I mean, of course, I'm not going to go on and all the verses that there is in the New Testament, basically talking about the relationship between Israel and Christianity. But let's just say there is way too many. I mean, that's a show. That's a show that we can do just by itself. Okay, talking about the relationship between Christianity and the Jews. So for you to say that there is no relationship between Christianity and the Jews, you can only be talking about race. Again, my brother is, let me tell you something, if those Jews were black, he wouldn't care less. He would be like, yes, we need to stop the Muslims. So I don't know what Hassan is laughing about, because trust me, he would turn on you very quick if those Jews there were black. Do I have more hatred for the Jews than Muslims? I have no hatred towards the Muslims because we are all made in God's image. It's impossible for me as a Christian to hate Jews because our scriptures teach. Sorry, it's impossible for me as a Christian to hate Muslims because our scriptures teach. Okay, unlike the Islamic scriptures, teach that human beings are made in the image of God. So it's important. It's impossible for me to hate Muslims. What I hate is the Islamic scriptures, and the Islamic scriptures call to kill people that do not believe in their scriptures. Okay, and it's perversion, and it's claimed that it's part of the Abrahamic faith when it's a perverted religion that came 600 years after Christianity. How dare they? The Pact of Umar, bro, the fact that you even brought this up, you're brave for even bringing this up. Hold on, but before I mention that, Hassan says Islam is a persecuted religion. I want everyone to Google right now who is the most persecuted religion in the world, and what they're going to come to find out is that the most persecuted religion in the world is Christianity. Islam does the persecution. That's what Islam does. Islam does the persecution. Okay, maybe the liberals right now need help because they know that liberal ideology isn't going to go far, but maybe that's why they're allowing all the Muslims in so that they can subjugate Christians. But the thing is, it's Islam who does the persecution, not Christianity, and that's attested by historical facts. When my brother here claims that, you know, we preserve the Jews and their heritage, that's bullshit. We have to look at the Pact of Umar. And I've asked this question on the WhatsApp group, and I'm asking this question to my pro-black brother here. If the Islamic Caliphate took over today over the UK and they implemented the Pact of Umar, which they did, because that's exactly how Jews and Christians were treated. They were treated under the Pact of Umar. And you just heard the video that I played of the Muslim guy literally laughing about it with all of his audience and talking about how Christians and Jews should be treated under Islamic law. And if that is not to treat someone as a subhuman, I don't know what it is. He talked about some Muslim being fat, eating steak, and going over to a I'm sorry, this is just my laughing about it because I find these things funny. But it's not funny at all because that's how Christians were actually treated. Imagine having to wear a belt so you can be recognized. Imagine having to wear different types of shoes and having to pay a tax. And if you didn't pay a tax, guess what would happen to you guys? I'm sure you can all guess. You would be killed. So I don't want to hear. Listen, the self-righteousness bullshit from both of you guys is amazing. Hypocrites. Christians will bypass the atrocities of the Jews against the Palestinians. Hold on, we have to look at things objectively here. No, Christians do not bypass absolutely nothing. When Jews are wrong, they're wrong. When Muslims are wrong, they're wrong. When anyone is wrong, because we judge righteously according to what Christ taught us. Why? Because we actually can judge righteously. And what we are dealing with of course, if this was Christians conducting a war, it would it would go a little bit different. I agree. But in a war, okay, this is what this is, a war, which Muslims started, and they've been doing this for a very long time. This is nothing new. This has been going for 1,400 years. Muslims going around and taking over land that doesn't belong to them. This is nothing new, guys. They're dying to take over Israel, okay? So this is a war that they started, and the Jews have every right, because this war is not even really about what's actually going on. What this war is really about is the fact that they will not stop. Muslims will not stop until they take over. This is nothing to do. The Islamic scriptures. And I was going to go. This is the end. I was going to go into. It's not about. Listen, the Islamic scriptures. I don't know why Hassan does this all the time. Tries to avoid what his own scriptures say. Okay, the Islamic scriptures say that you guys, okay, are not going to stop until every single. The end of time will not come until every Jew is dead. All right, that's what the Islamic scriptures say. All right, I don't care what this Muslim said or what that Muslim said. That's just human beings talking shit. I care about what your scripture said, what I can read with my own eyes. The Talmud, let me tell you something. The Talmud is not part of the Old Testament. The Testament came 400 years later. We don't recognize it. A bunch of rabbis are commenting on how they perceive commenting on the Old Testament and their idea of the Old Testament. And that's all. That's what Talmud is, right? Just rabbis commenting on the Old Testament. That's really all it is. Okay, so we don't care about that. All right, we don't listen to that. But the Islamic scriptures, which is supposed to be God given, all right, it says that the end of time will not come until every single Jew is dead. I find that sickening. I find that horrible. I find that evil. If that is not an act of war, then I don't know what is. I'm done. Can I get a round of applause? No?
I do you want to come in, Hassan, or can I?
I'll
I'm going to be
let you
very
go.
brief.
I'll let you go first.
Because I think now.
Hassan, where's my dog Marco?
We've all done
Hold
one of
on, bro. Hold on. Before you come in, let me just acknowledge Aaron McKay. Yo, that sounds a bit strong, Aaron. Yo. Anyways, I think my comments are not showing up. Aaron, I am honestly, like, everyone should know me by now. I do not play around. I'll even if you're chatting shit about me, I'll put the comments up. By the way, I have no idea what is the context of the stream. You said that, yo. I think my comments are not showing up. Shouts to my brother Aaron McKay, man, for the engagement. Shouts to him. That's a hadith, not the Quran, and you don't share the context. You clearly have a lot of hate for Muslims and a lot of love for Zionism. Everyone seems to see it but yourself. I mean, I can show you a couple of verses that would actually say otherwise. When you're telling Christians that they have to move out the way, to force Christians out the way, I think that's a lot of hatred towards Christianity. I don't have no hatred towards Muslims. I have what I do have is hatred towards Islam, because Islam is evil. Not saying you did, but I typed 2 that didn't show up. No worries, my brother. No worries. Yes, go ahead, Jam. Go ahead. Do your thing.
Yeah, I was just saying, we've done a lot of monologues. I think we've all done monologues, and I think it'd be good to just close off with
let's do it, man.
Some short answers to some questions. So I have 2 questions for you, Nelson, and we could do short answers. You can ask me some questions after.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go on forever.
So the first question is, the religion of Judaism, as it's currently practiced today, is it a false religion? That's the first question. The second question is, can the inheritance of a false religion, I'm not saying Judaism is, this is a separate question. Can the inheritance of a false religion claim a divine right to a holy land, holy as determined by the God of the Old and New Testament? And can that same group of people who are adherents of a false religion engage in a just war? So let's repeat my question. First question is Judaism, as it's currently practiced today, a false religion? And the second question, can the adherents of a false religion claim a divine right to a holy land determined by the God of the Old and New Testament?
Okay. Yeah. So the first question, can you just repeat? Is Judaism a false religion, right?
Judaism, as it's currently practiced today,
Is it
a false religion?
Judaism, as it's currently practiced today, it is a false religion. In the sense, well, hold on. There's different sects of Judaism. There's Judaisms that there's parts of Judaism that reject the Talmud, and there's Judaisms that accept the Talmud. But is it a false religion in the sense of they did not accept the the Messiah? Yes. But is it a false religion in the sense that they believe in the God of Jacob, the God of Abraham, and the God which is what Christians believe in? No, it's not false in that sense.
Okay.
And what was the second question again?
So you've acknowledged that the tenets of Judaism that believe that Jesus is a false prophet is a false religion, which, yes, by the way, is the majority of what people who claim to be Jews believe. So the majority of people that claim to be Jews believe that Jesus is not a Messiah, not the Son of God, and has no divinity.
I think most of them do.
Right. So okay. So by that logic, but what you just highlighted,
absolutely,
it's a false religion.
Yes.
Okay. So again, the second question: can the adherents of a false religion claim a divine right to a holy land, which was determined and classified as holy by the God of the Old and New Testament? Can they claim ownership, a divine right to that land, as adherents of a false religion, which you claim, and I agree with, that they are?
Can they claim a divine right? If they, historically speaking, yes.
A divine right.
Okay, divine right. Okay, I apologize. You're absolutely right. A divine right would include, do they believe in the God of Jacob, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac? Yes. Because they believe in those tenets, yes, they can claim, they have that divine right to do so, even if they haven't accepted Jesus, which means they have accepted most of it. It's just that they need to come to that last step and accept Jesus Christ as the Messiah. But because they believe in the God of Abraham and the God of that's the only reason why I would say yes, they can claim a divine right. Yeah.
Do you believe, as a Catholic, that the Holy Land was classified as the divine land by Jesus, seeing as you believe Jesus is God?
So say that again, bro. So
the Holy Land of Israel, why?
Yes.
Who determined it to be holy?
Who did the Holy Land of Israel?
Who determined it? God.
Oh, God, yeah.
Jesus.
Jesus is God, yeah.
Okay. So Jesus, according to what Catholics believe,
yeah,
Jesus.
According to what Catholics believe.
Catholics, yeah, this is what Catholics believe.
Be careful now, but yeah, go on.
yeah, you believe Catholics believe
relax yourself, bro.
No, because Catholics believe Jesus is God. That's what I'm making.
Chill.
So I'm speaking as a Catholic here. Okay. Jesus determined the Holy Land of Israel is divine. And set aside for God's chosen people. Correct?
Yeah. That's why Muslims have no business over there. Yeah.
Okay. So we've determined that. Can the adherents of a false religion lay claim to such a land?
Yes, because of the reasons that I gave earlier. They believe in.
They don't. But hold on, let me just clarify. They don't believe. Hold on. They don't believe in the God that you say determined that land is holy. They don't believe in that God. So how could they have claim to a land of a God that they don't believe in?
Oh my days! You know, that's such a great question, bro.
Thank you.
Okay, do they believe the thing is that's the problem, because right now I'm talking to a pagan and the pagan doesn't understand the concept of Trinity. No, hold on. Don't take this as an attack, my brother. You know
I would never do that. But the deflection is
I mean, you're a truth seeker, man. This is one thing I love so much about you, bro. But the thing is, it's like, you know, you've been cheated. You know what I'm saying? With and shouts to you for the biblical knowledge that you managed to gain. But the thing is, you know, the concept of Trinity is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? And who do you see the Jews kind of like talking to? Who do you think the Jews would have been talking to at the time before Jesus, or before Jesus came along? They would have been to who? The Father, right? So yes, in the sense of, and do we believe that the Christians believe in that same Father? Yes, we do. We believe in that same Father, and that's the reason why they have that divine claim. Yeah, but that would be the answer. That would be the answer. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what more to add here, because it doesn't make sense for anyone, any objectively speaking, to suggest that the people that literally reject there's a holy land. It's been determined holy land by Jesus. This is a Catholic's point of view. A holy land that is determined holy by Jesus. You then say that the people that don't believe in Jesus, not even yourselves, the people that don't believe in Jesus, that don't believe Jesus is the Son of God, that don't believe Jesus is God, that actually believe Jesus is a false prophet, you believe those people have a more of a divine right to the land than you do.
So than I do.
Yeah, than you. You believe that those Jews have more of a divine right to the land than you do. And
but
you believe in Jesus.
Hold on. But you want, let's be honest, bro. You want the Muslims to own that land.
Okay,
Okay,
guys.
don't deflect,
I'm
don't
gonna
deflect,
shut
please.
off now because I think I proved my point. I'll let Hassan continue.
My goodness,
Was I getting too hot?
it's getting too hot
For you, it's getting too hot for you.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I don't know where to begin, man. I mean, your hate.
Hassan, get on with it, man.
Huh?
Let's get on with it.
There we go. Just get on with it. Speak so I can ignore it. That's basically what you're saying.
I'm just joking, Hassan. Why, Days? You can't take a little banter, bro. Everyone's so uptight, man. Even though I'm winning the debate, everyone knows. This is against one. I told Dawood to come over, bro. The fact that Dawood is not here helping you guys, yeah, oh my days.
Dawood's a smart one, maybe. You know, he's not used to schizophrenics, man.
Oh, Hassan, do you see the point I'm trying to make? I know. Do you see the point I'm making? Because maybe I'm not articulating it right.
Are you saying the people that call for the crucifixion of Jesus don't like his people and don't listen to his word and don't consider him seriously are the rightful heirs to the land that Jesus said that was speaking the Old Testament?
Not true. Not true.
Okay, so let me get this right. The God of the Old Testament gave them. Octavio, let me. In your logic, the God of the Old Testament delivered them to the Promised Land. They did things they weren't meant to be doing. He came down on earth to guide them. They tried to get him killed, and slandered him as such, and yet they're still the rightful owners of the land. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Fair enough.
That's what I'm saying.
You can believe that, you can believe anything.
Can I explain?
This is what I'm saying, guys. Cognitive dissonance and a bit of Stockholm syndrome.
Can I explain why
it's very hard to get through that?
Yeah, it's just called ad hominems, guys. Don't listen to that. It's just weak. But the thing is, it's weak argument tactics. Because the guys, you guys are separated. So there's the Jews and there's the Christians. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened historically. And until you guys get this fact through your heads, you will never understand. Okay. The Jesus Christ was a Jew. The apostles were Jews. The disciples that came after were Jews. These were Jewish people. All right. So these Jewish people did not. Even Jesus himself said, "I did not come to abolish the law; I came to fulfill the law." These Jewish people did not reject the Mosaic law. They did not reject the prophets. They said that the Mosaic law, the prophets, and everything else that came before pointed towards Christ. These were Jewish people saying it, not Romans. Okay.
And please, before you filibuster, please. I don't know what you're praising yourself for. What happened to those people?
What happened to those people?
They were killed, right?
Yeah, the Jews were persecuted, yes.
Were they killed?
The Christian Jews were persecuted, yes.
By who?
Not all of them were killed, bro. My days, what's wrong with you, man?
You literally make it a foundation of your belief. How is it the apostles would lie about the crucifixion when they were killed for their beliefs? Killed by who?
The apostles were killed after converting thousands and thousands of Jews. This is backed up at the Acts of the Apostles.
Who killed them?
Who
killed them? Was it the Muslims that killed them? Was it the Romans that killed them? Was it the Jews that called for their
the Muslims only started killing Christians after 649 when they took over their land.
Cool.
Anyways, you asked me a question. Let me answer it. That who killed them? It was a combination of both. It was the Jews and the Romans. This is what I'm saying. When you don't read, you won't know this type of stuff. And I'm going to be here educating you.
Yeah, you're arguing against yourself. You're saying they're Jews, so not followers of Christ, because I think that the logical answer would be Jesus comes down, they follow Christ and become followers of Christ and no longer Jews, which technically would mean that the faith as it stands is obsolete. The fulfillment of the law means it has reached its potential as such, which means you are a follower of Christ. That's why he came down in the first place in your belief system. And when they did follow him, they were killed. So the argument that Jacob is making...
Say that again. You said something about fulfilling the law.
Okay. So your logic is Jesus comes down to complete fulfillment means completion, right? Okay. He comes down to complete the fulfillment of the belief system, right? He is killed, right? Those who follow him are killed, right?
I'm sorry. So excuse me. Yes.
Or
yes.
persecute. Yeah, killed or
You're
persecuted.
you're talking about a certain number of apostles, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the ones closest to the time where the importance of the message can be managed or controlled, as in.
Can you just hold on? Can you just add to that the thousands of Jews who converted according to the Acts of the Apostles? Can you just add that to your assessment, please?
Yeah. I mean, it would be.
Yeah.
See, now you're just being okay. Fair enough.
Okay. I'm joking, bro.
It doesn't matter. It was
serious.
a topic. It was a line of questioning I wanted to go down.
I'll behave. I'll shut up.
No, it's fine. I'll scrap it. It's already gone. I don't want to go down.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Nothing. Yeah, go ahead.
Ad hominem. Okay, fair enough. So here's my issues. Why are you obsessed with Umar?
You're talking about. Bro, I played the video for you, man. Okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna ask you a question. Funny. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you a question. Imagine Christians came up with a document on how to treat Muslims, and it sounded exactly like the Pact of Umar. Would you like it?
I'll say, well, why was it written? Who is
no?
Umar?
Hold on. Towards the Muslim, I don't care why it was. What
you don't care. You're asking me if I care, so you can't say what I care, what I don't care.
Please. I know
I did let you land.
I know you're
answered your question. You didn't like the answer.
Wow. Okay.
You didn't like the answer. You're obsessed with the Pact of Umar.
I don't know why you're trying to hurt my feelings. I don't know why you're trying to hurt my feelings. The truth, you haven't even let me ask the question yet. The question is this. It's very simple, okay? If Christians came up with something like the Pact of Umar for Muslims, all right, and how Muslims should be treated, and it sounded exactly like the Pact of Umar, would you be in agreement with what that pact said?
That wasn't your question. So disingenuous. Your question was what?
My question now.
Okay, what's your question? Because you don't like the first answer.
Okay, I'll repeat it one more time. This is going to be one of them. Do you condemn? And he doesn't condemn. And we're going to have to go to the Muslim. Oh, God. Look, listen, it's very simple. If the Christians came up with something like the Pact of, let's say the Christians today, let's say America became fully Christians, all right? And we said, because we are the most powerful nation in the world, and entire Europe is the most powerful nations in the world, we want every single Muslim to adhere to what we call the Pact of Christianity or whatever. And it says that, and what it says in that pact is exactly what it says on the Pact of Umar about how Muslims should be treated. So instead of Christians, it will be how Muslims should be treated. Would Muslims be okay with that?
Would Muslims be okay with that? I don't think so.
There you go.
Okay, but so what? What's your point?
The point is this: what the Pact of Umar says is it's literally evil, and it's so evil that you yourself have turned around and said, no, I don't think we would like that. So why the hell do you think we Christians would like that?
The question is, why do you care about it?
Because I'm a bloody Christian. It's talking about me.
Who's Umar to you?
Who's Umar to me?
Yeah.
Some guy that wrote the Pact of Umar.
Why do you care? Umar's dead.
Yeah. He wrote a Pact of Umar according to what Islam teaches. And he was a caliphate. Bro,
who cares if he was a caliphate?
And this,
why do you care? Let's just calm down. Just take a cup of calmness, relax, breathe in and breathe out. Just drink your kosher coffee, relax, take a moment, take a breath.
Shalom. Right? Shalom.
Drinking some of your kosher wine, right? Relax. The point I'm making here is you want to point out Omar because you want Omar's pact in a particular time, in particular context, to summarize and represent all of Islam. Well, then you and presenting Islam as the enemy and they want to persecute us and so on and so forth. Out of a desire, and this is what I think, out of a desire to maintain and to establish the state of Israel, to do whatever it wants to do, whoever it kills, men, women, or children, young or whatever, you will villainize whoever they are persecuting or killing. And you'll even turn a blind eye to when they're spitting in your face. And because I can't accept that. I mean, you're worried about something that happened 1,200 years ago when they're actually the people spitting in your faces today. But that's a whole nother issue. I'd rather wear two different color shoes than be spat in the face, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? So you'll turn a blind eye to what they're doing to you today, what you're paying for how they're treating other people, which goes directly against the teachings of Jesus and the church fathers and the apostles, people who would rather be killed than kill people who rather die than, you know, say that, give up the message of Christ and so on and so forth. You'd ignore all that, because the concept is, if the state of Israel is established, which is a piece of land and a piece of paper, we can come to open doors in a minute. And I've done my due diligence on this website, and it's not as sound as you think it is. It's a bit rude. I'm trying to speak in your. Okay.
I'm listening to what you have to say, bro.
How can you be listening and scrolling and putting something?
Okay, I'll tell you because and JM will vouch to this on almost every live.
I can't even finish my point.
I'm not interrupting you. You asked me a question.
No, I didn't ask you a question. I said, can I finish my point? And can you take this off the screen while I'm talking? Because it's a bit rude.
I have to take this off the screen?
Yeah, because I'm talking. I haven't finished. I haven't made my point. So the point, yeah. So now I forget my train of thought. I mean, anyway. Now, what was the last thing I said? The persecution, blah blah, rejecting Jesus for the sake of Israel, because apparently the state of Israel, if it's established, then Jesus will come back, and then all the Jews will convert to Christianity or something. See, anyway. I forgot my point now, man. I lost my thing, man. God almighty. Just go play your thing, man.
Nelson, man, I don't. You think you did?
JM, this is all your fault, JM.
No, it's your fault, actually. You should have let the guy speak until it puts up on the screen.
JM, can I just ask you a question? And I just need your. I just need.
If it comes back to me, I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, please do, Hassan, because I was actually enjoying that what you were saying. I was going to back up. I was going to actually add to it. Go on.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay, now so go ahead.
Let me just ask some questions. Sorry, bro. I can be a little bit antagonizing at times.
By the way, can you keep the question and you can, if you want to, you can seek clarification for the false claim you made about how I think it's a color thing. You can do that if you want, but I'm not going to entertain it because it's ridiculous. But if you want clarification, please keep the question to the topic, please.
I told you guys that would have been there. Anyways, let me just ask you a question, Jam. And thank you, bro, for being so patient with me. I really appreciate it, and for letting me talk my mind. Really appreciate it, guys. Jam, look, listen. The Pact of Uma, right? I just want to ask you. All right. If someone came up.
Now I remember. Yeah,
all right. So, can I just ask Jeremy a question? Oh, do you want to go in?
No.
All right, okay.
I just Pact of Uma rings a bell, but yeah, please carry on.
All right, okay, no worries. The Pact of Uma, Jam. So would you agree with the Pact of Uma if, for example, let's say white people came up with something like the Pact of Uma, and said this is how black people should be treated according to the Pact of Uma? If that was aimed and targeted at black people, would you agree with the treatment? Would you agree with that type of treatment?
Okay, so first of all, before I answer the question, I just want to highlight what I said earlier on about what Nelson would be continually doing, which is steering the conversation towards Islam. I just want to highlight that's what Nelson continually doing, and it's another example, because this question has absolutely nothing to do with the topic. However, I will answer it though. I don't know anything about this. I never know how to refer to it. This, what is it called? Of Uma.
I even played the video for you, and I sent you the document as well.
I haven't read it. I didn't read it.
The correct term is
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I'm not. I would never convert to Islam. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not really concerned with that. So it's not something that I have much of a kind of vested interest in. In terms of what the question you asked.
Thank you. If you could answer the question.
Of course not. I wouldn't support anything that subjugates a group of people based on race, ethnic, or religion.
Or beliefs, yeah.
So you believe that? So do you believe that the Pact of Uma, according to what you heard from the Muslim brother himself in the video that I played of him, do you agree that that is subjugation of a certain group of people?
Yes.
Thank you. And you don't agree with that because that is to treat human beings as subhuman, right?
Absolutely, I don't agree. I don't agree with any marginalized treatment based on religion. No.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to thank JM here to everyone before I let Brother Hassan come in. I just want to thank him for being honest and for answering the question directly. And what Brother JM, I know Hassan's dying to come in. Sorry for pausing so many times. But yes, absolutely. What Brother JM just said right here shows, that, it goes against human conscience. The pact of woman goes against human conscience, goes against human dignity. It is wrong, it is evil, so therefore it comes from Satan. And I have to shout Brother JM, the pro-black Brother JM, for who said he will never convert to Islam, by the way. He for saying that this is evil, it subjugates human beings, and it's wrong. And I wonder what Aaron McKay got to say about this. But yes, let's just passing through. I don't know what name anymore. Hassan, go ahead. Where's my Don DeMarco, man?
You're getting none from me, man. You're getting none from me.
Shut up.
You're actually staring. You're like a stone in my shoe, man. Yeah. But anyway, what's your obsession with Umar? What's your obsession with Umar? Why do you care about Umar?
Okay, guys, quickly, who is Umar? Just for my knowledge, who is this Umar?
Let's Octavio. That's Octavio. Octavio.
Who is Umar?
I'll
is Umar Johnson?
He robbed my yard, bro.
It's not Umar Johnson, is it?
Huh?
No.
No, it's not, man. You know what I mean?
I know that Umar. Obviously, I know that one.
Yeah. Shout out to that Umar. I disagree with some things, but sometimes
is it Umar Epps? Is it that one?
Umar Epps. Yeah, Umar Johnson, man. Shout out to him because sometimes he says some true things, man. Sometimes he's on point, man.
Yeah. Who is Umar?
Hold on a second. Hold on. We don't have to really speculate because Hassan is not really going to give you the real deal about who Umar actually is.
Again, there's no need for these like tarnishing people's character.
I'm sorry, bro.
One guy is a racist. That's why, and the other one is a Muslim. He's going to be dishonest. It's very unchristian like. It's interesting how Christianity goes out the window. Justice, truth, dignity, everything decent about Christianity goes out the window when it comes to the character of the state of Israel. Answer the question, please. And let's move on to the
judge, not Hassan. Thank God.
Don't bring out the Bible now. You throw it out the window. Keep it out the window. Keep it outside.
Hassan is bad triggered. You guys notice?
Because you've been lying.
Nelson, do you believe that the Jews are acting in accordance with Christian principles?
Bro, I already told you this. Hell no.
Okay. You said yes.
No,
you said yes. You said
just no, they
war.
not.
You said just war, which means that they can kill Palestinians.
The term just war has a biblical origin.
Yeah, there's rules. There's rules attached to just war.
Yes. And not everyone can engage in it too. By the way, there's certain criteria.
Two pagans fighting for just war.
I want Nelson to justify that. He didn't answer that question, by the way. That was actually thanks, Hassan, because he actually reminded me that he didn't answer the question because I asked him way back. Thanks, Hassan. I appreciate it.
How can you give Hassan props after Hassan backs the pact of Umar? Hassan condemned.
No, but he did remind me that he didn't answer the right now about the just war. You didn't answer that question.
Hassan, condemn the pact of Umar right now.
I'll do that as soon as you condemn the persecution of ethnic minorities by the Catholic Church.
I love it.
You won't do that, will you? Oh yeah, the popes can do whatever they want. Yeah, they're great. You know, of course, take Africans as slaves. They're savages. Anyway,
shout out to Aaron McKay said I'm 2 minutes behind because I was praying and I'm catching up on 2 times speed. I don't believe you, Aaron McKay. I think you avoided that last demolition part on my part. Towards these two pagans over here, and now you're back. Don't worry, you can always rewind it, Aaron. You can always rewind it, brother. And
okay, Octavio, please.
Hold on. Hassan, sorry. Just give me 10 seconds.
Go.
Because according to Nelson, I'm a pagan. Okay, and the reason why I'm a pagan is because I believe that the reason why you're a pagan is because you're a Muslim and you don't believe Jesus is the Son of God, divinity.
That's not the reason.
The reason why I'm a pagan is because I don't believe that Jesus is God. I don't believe in the Trinity. I believe Jesus is the Son of God. So we're both pagans.
Yeah.
Are Jews pagans? The Jews now,
No.
are they pagans? Yes or no?
No, they're not, because they believe in the
Okay,
Father.
stop there.
They
So I
believe
want
in
the audience. I want the audience to sink let that sink in.
Yeah,
I'm a pagan.
The
Hold on,
the
Nelson.
Muslim
Give me 1
rejects the
second.
divinity of Jesus,
I'm
but
a
accepts the
pagan because
prophethood.
hold on,
Sorry.
Hassan. Let me just make
Sorry.
let me just land on this quick point. I'm a pagan because I don't believe Jesus is God.
Yes.
You're a pagan because you don't believe Jesus is God.
Yes.
Jews are not pagans and they believe Jesus is a false prophet.
And they killed him.
Oh, I mean, so
Of
I'm
course.
talking about the Jews now. I don't want to go back in time.
Okay.
Nelson wants to be clever. With
I don't
that.
know why Jay is acting like that. JM is acting like this, by the way. I don't know, because
No,
I can
the Jews
I can
now,
always explain it.
the so-called Jews now that Nelson believes are the Jews, the so-called Jews now that Nelson believes are the Jews, they believe that Jesus is a false prophet. Nelson refuses to call them pagans.
Can I tell you why?
I believe Jesus is the Son of God, but I'm a pagan. I want
Can I answer why? And I'll be honest with you. I'll be really quick, and I'll say 5 up to 10 seconds, because the same God that the Jews believe in, Yahweh, is the same God that we believe in, Jesus.
No, that's false.
Hold on a second. Hold on. That's what I'm saying. Because you're a pagan. Hold on. Because you're a pagan. Hold on. Because you're a pagan and you deny the divinity.
But that's not true. What you just said. You don't believe that Yahweh is God. You believe Jesus is God.
Yes, and Yahweh is God, and the Holy Spirit is God, and
they believe Jesus is a false prophet.
Nature.
Hold on. They believe Jesus is a false prophet. And anyone else on this planet that would call Jesus a false prophet, you would call them a pagan.
Okay, do they believe in Yahweh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they believe in Yahweh.
Do Christians believe in the Yahweh?
No, you don't know. Catholic, yeah, some Christians do.
No, all Christians believe in Yahweh the Father. The Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
So do the Muslims. I don't get it.
Where's my Don DeMarco?
Bro, but that's not the point. Nelson, you're missing the point. They believe that Jesus is a false.
You're wrong for this.
No, Nelson, anyone else that would say that Jesus is a let's go down the list. He's a false prophet. He's a criminal that was a rebellion against Rome and deserved to be killed. This is what Jews believe. Okay.
Facts.
They believe that Jesus is not divine.
Facts.
Those people that believe that, in your opinion, if any other group of human beings on the planet, pro-black, said that, oh, they're pagans. If Muslims would say it, clearly they're pagans. Any other group of people on the planet Earth that would come up with those 3 definitions of Jesus, false prophet, sinner, not divine, you would call them pagans. Yet the Jews, for some reason, the so-called Jews that believe that, for some reason, you refuse to call them pagans. There's a cognitive dissonance there, I keep saying, when it comes to Jews and you Zionist Christians. And unfortunately, I don't think this conversation is going to help you.
Before I reply to that, let me just acknowledge Aaron McKay. And by the way, Jam is wrong on that one. What do you think about the Pact of Roma? And just to say, the Jews believe in Yahweh. We also believe in Yahweh, so that's the reason why he's wrong. So, anyways, so back to Aaron McKay. What do you think about Pact of Roma? I've never heard of it. But based on what you characterized it, I would not support that treatment towards the group based on ethnic, race, or religion. Oh, my friend Aaron McKay, do you have news? Once you read the Pact of Roma, you might have to reconsider your choices in choosing Islam as a religion to follow, because once you read the Pact of Roma, you will be disgusted, because that is exactly what Muslims believe. Christians and Jews should be treated under Islamic law, and the whole Pact of Roma is backed by the Quran and the Hadiths, and this is the reason why Islam cannot be allowed to spread.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Hold on. I'm finishing. I'm gonna let you go, Hassan. I'm gonna let you go. Don't worry. No need to be triggered.
Yeah, and then you're gonna be condescending and
no, I'm not gonna be condescending. You're being rude. You're being condescending right now. While I was talking, you interrupted. I don't even know why. Anyways, as you can see, if once you read the Pact of Roma, my brother, your entire mind will change in regards to Islam. If you believe that's how human beings should be treated, whether they believe in your religion or not, my brother, I even played, go back to the beginning of this video and watch what your own Muslim brother is saying about how Christians should be treated. Okay, he's making fun of it.
You're talking the video.
Hassan is getting killed right now because Hassan knows that is wrong and is evil and is warring with his conscience right now.
Not at
all. Anyway, my brother Aaron McKay, I think my job is done over here. Hold on. Hey guys, sorry to disappoint you, laughing out loud. Just saying the rest of the stuff. I listened to the whole thing and I'm almost caught out. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Can you respond to JM's question though? Who's Umar?
So, Umar is. Hold on a second. That's the pact of Umar on the screen. JM, can you see it, JM?
Nobody can see it. That's the writing's
Yeah,
too
I can
small.
see it.
It's too small. It's too small. It's too small, right?
But
okay.
it doesn't
I'm on my laptop, so I can see it.
Okay. So this is the leader. Okay, the pact of Umar. Okay, this is the leader of the faithful, Umar bin al-Khattab. May Allah be pleased with him. Demanded his well-known conditions be met by the Christians. These conditions that ensure they continue.
Quickly, was this Umar? Was he a prophet? Was he a? What was his position?
Yeah, who's Umar? But we'll let him finish, I guess.
All right. Sorry.
Can I finish?
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
I know you guys are gonna be triggered. Anyways, this is the leader of the pact of Umar. This is why the leader of the faithful, Umar bin al-Khattab, and you guys can research that. Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, not Yahweh, demanded his well-known conditions be met by Christians. He demanded that his well-known conditions be met by Christians. These conditions that ensure they continued humiliation, degradation, and disgrace. This is what the Pact of Umar said. The scholars of Hadith narrated from Abdul Rahman bin Gam. I'm sorry, I'm butchering everything here. Al-Sharif that he said, I recorded for Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, the terms of the treaty of peace be conducted with the Christians of Asharam. So basically what they were doing is they were forcing Christians to agree to these conditions, and if they did not agree, they would get absolutely killed. The Pact of Umar was reportedly a treaty between Umar, the second here it is, the second rightly guided caliph. He was the second rightly guided caliph.
Okay, cool. Please,
hold on.
No, I'm not holding on.
Christian of Syria.
You've said something. You've said something which you cannot clarify. You cannot give evidence to. I'm going to interrupt. You said if they don't agree to the pact, they'll be killed. Show me the proof.
What?
You said if they did not apply to the caliph, to the contract, to the pact, that they will be killed. Can you show me?
What?
Okay, so this is the issue, Octavio.
That means no. That means no, we can't.
Yeah. Please don't do don't do a central da'wah.
That's what you guys are going to get caught out.
Show me the proof. Excuse me. You answered the question. He's the second caliph. He's not the prophet.
Damn, you're doing your pro-black wrong, bro.
He's just the caliph. Octavio, JM asked you the question. The question was, who is he? He's the second caliph, which confirms JM's question, which was, is he a prophet? Is he a caliph? Who is he? He's not a prophet. He's the second caliph. That's it, right?
What's a caliph?
It's a king. It's a king or a ruler. He's basically the king of the ummah, basically. The ruler, basically like a pope.
Basically, Jolani today.
No, Jolani's way lower.
So Nelson, it's a bit. Hold on. So sorry, Hassan. So Nelson, I'm a bit disappointed now because I actually thought that this was some like religious tenant. This is the words of a a non-divine character who happened to be Muslim, and his opinion of what to happen to other people.
I didn't know Muhammad. Muhammad was a divine character. Is he a divine character, Hassan?
From the Islamic perspective, yes.
Muhammad is a divine character.
From the Islamic, not divine.
Oh my days! He just committed shirk.
No. JM means divinely
Oh!
guided, meaning
He knows what I
he's-
mean. He knows
No.
exactly what I mean. He's being
divinely
clever.
appointed.
No,
He's being
that's
clever.
not
Not just being clever. Knows what exactly
You
what I
said
This
he
is
was
the
a
level of-
divine.
I've
You
just
said he was
started,
a divine
Octavio,
character,
I've
Muhammad.
just
You
started
know what I
speaking.
mean, Nelson.
Well, you
Come
know
on.
what? You know what the thumbnail is going to say, innit?
This is the level of, this is why you can't do these serious topics with Octavio, because his
Yeah.
childishness and his. So the point being, Octavio, he's
Muslim
not the
commit shirk
prophet.
live on the
He's-
Solution
he-
podcast.
I've committed shirk.
Yes, you called Muhammad a divine character.
JM meant a divinely appointed character. That's what he
He
meant.
never said
not the
divine
prophet.
appointed character. He said divine character.
JM, is that what you meant?
That's what he said.
JM, is that what you meant? That, well, he's keeping quiet now, but that's what he meant. And that's
Oh,
what he
you're
said.
grasping at straws here, bro.
Anyway,
The first you asked me a false question, and now you called Muhammad a divine.
now his.
Okay, let me clarify. Let me clarify
You know
my
what the
statement.
thumbnail's
Hold
gonna
on,
say,
Hassan. Let
man.
me clarify. Let me clarify it then.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is what I meant.
how are you going to clarify after you've been called?
I meant Muhammad, the Prophet
Yeah.
Muhammad, is a prophet. Yeah.
Who said? Yeah, self-declared, appointed messenger of God.
Okay. Okay. So there's some level of authority when it comes to the tenets of Islam
Yes.
that are followed.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
person here doesn't seem to have that.
Yes, he doesn't.
That's the point I'm making. He's just a king
Caliph.
at
Yes.
a particular
Yes.
time
Yes.
that made a statement.
Yes.
So I don't know how we could use that. I'm just asking a question. I'm not defending any Islam. I'm asking a question.
You're just basing on the
How
facts.
can we use that as some type of indictment of Islam? I don't understand how you do that.
This is why. And first, this is why, JM, because he's using the Pact of Ummah to represent the Ummah, and he's lying as well. He's added a lie. He's saying this is the Muslim contract, that if Muslims rule over the world, that this is what they're going to do, and if they don't, they will die, which he can't give evidence to. This is his central da'wah moment, by the way, because he's just scrolling and there's no evidence for it. That's one. Two, why would you care if he's a caliph? Why would you care about the caliphs at all? Why would you point out to Ummah as the perfect example of the person who represents Islam in every circumstance, in every context? Because you want to villainize Islam, because hypothetically and theoretically, Muslims doing wrong is worse than practically and literally and currently Jews doing wrong. Because the obsession is that the Jews are superior to the non-Jews, to the Christians, and that the establishment of the state of Israel is more important to the preservation of life of any non-Christian, of any non-Jew. That's the point. And this is the problem with Christian Zionism. It throws out Christianity out the window when it comes to the Jewish state, but it maintains it to the point when it comes to everybody else and themselves to a certain extent. Right. Having said that, why do you keep, Octavio, I'll ask you the question again. Why do you keep pointing out to the Pact of Ummah as the example of how Muslims should be seen in all times throughout history?
All right. I just want to read what the Pact of Ummah actually says. I hope you guys got your, because I'm kind of hurt right now because I've just heard a good friend of mine. Well, he calls me a kuffar. I'm an unbeliever. But I just heard him commit shirk online. So as you can tell, my voice, it's a bit, not as animated. I will describe my voice. Hold on a second. So
this is coming from the same man who wants me to follow Jesus. All right.
No, and I'll be honest with you. To see a pro-black brother trying to save a Muslim brother it's a parody to me.
This is the thing. He's not trying to say this. He's just pointing out. Every time you add a lie, I'm gonna respond. So it's better to focus on the truth.
Yeah. And to see a Muslim brother appeal to a pro-black brother to clarify is something to be watched. The Pact of Ummah, as Islam expanded after, and I'm reading this straight off of the document. Yes, you're absolutely. He is a caliphate. That guy, that's who he is. Basically, he's a religious leader. That's why he's a Muslim religious leader who was very close to the time of Muhammad. Muhammad passed away 632. He was reigning in 637. So I would rather listen to how he understood the scriptures rather than Hassan in 2025 living in England. So as Islam expanded after Muhammad's death, many of the conquered lands were inhabited by Jews and Christians who, instead of converting to Islam, accepted second-class status as dhimmis and paid the jizya. Jizya, by the way, my pro-black brother, that's a tax that they have to pay in order to be in that land. If they don't pay, I mean, you can guess what will happen, right?
There's no proof. There's no proof. You can't use that. There's no. No. Again, I said every time you lie, I'm going to interrupt. I cannot allow the filibustering of lying to go uninterrupted. It's unfair to the religion. It's unfair to the truth. You cannot prove that if somebody does not pay the jizya, they're going to die. You cannot prove that if somebody did not sign the contract or the pact of Ummah, they're going to die. This is your central da'wah moment. Please give evidence, or please stop saying it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you plenty of evidence. As I said right here at the beginning, as Islam expanded after Muhammad's death, many of the conquered lands. So what does many of the conquered lands basically means? It means Muslims went out of where they were and they went into regions that was not theirs, okay? And they took over lands that belonged to Jews and Christians, and they basically gave them a choice. They say, listen, you guys have to, and this is what it says here, many of the conquered lands were inhabited by Jews and Christians who, instead of converting, so they said, we're never going to convert to your religion, ever. They said, okay, cool. So they said, all right, according to Surah 929, that says that if you don't, okay, because Muhammad in the Quran basically gives a command to Muslims to fight against us, the Christians and the Jews, and they say that if they don't accept it, all right, instead of converting to Islam, they accepted second-class status as dhimmis. So this is the choice. They'll be given a choice. They were conquered and they were given a choice. They said, listen, these are the rules. You're going to be second-class citizens, dhimmis, and you're going to pay the jizya tax. All right. Now, I'm asking you guys, yeah, and I'm asking my brother pro-black. Let's say I was a Christian and I've been conquered, and the Muslim authority comes up to me and says, look, you got to pay, you're dhimmi now, a second-class citizen, and you now have to pay the jizya. I'm like, what the hell is a jizya? It's a tax. I want to ask this to JM. What if I said, I'm not paying no jizya? I'm not agreeing to wearing a belt, cutting my head, and doing all of that. As a person who's been conquered, JM, what do you think would happen to me?
Okay, it's interesting you're talking about tax. Because what would you say about a group of people that actually believe it's part of their religion to inflate prices to non-believers? What do you say about people that did something like that?
Can you answer my question first, and then I'll answer your question?
Okay, so please make sure you answer my question.
No
yeah,
question.
I think it's wrong.
No, what I said, I didn't ask that. What I said was, I'm a conquered Christian. All right, they came to my land. The Muslim authorities came up to me. They put a sword to my neck. So no sword. A bit
like what the Catholics did in.
So said, yeah.
A bit like what the Catholics did in
yeah, nice try.
In the early 14th.
Yeah, it won't work. It won't work.
Force them to become Christians or die.
You guys look at this. Are you guys
seeing that?
Anyways, I was asking a question that I really wanted answered.
What was the question?
So it would actually really be nice if my brother would answer it.
Okay. I just want to put context to this. Is what the Catholics
absolutely 100%, even though it's not relevant. Anyways,
it is.
Yeah, to you, of course. But
we'll let him ask the question.
I could just ask the question and get the
question. Well, okay, I'll answer.
Okay, I'm a Christian. I've been conquered by Muslims. The Muslim authorities approach me and they say, hey, you're dhimmi now. Dhimmi means a second-class citizen, right? You have to pay a special tax called the jizya. First they say jizya, and I'm like, what the hell is jizya? And then they're like, well, it's a special tax that you have to pay because that's what Surah 929, according to God, says. And I'm like, okay. All right. I'm not going to pay no tax, bro. Sorry. I'm not paying no tax. I'm not paying anything. I'm not a dhimmi. I'm not going to wear a belt around my bloody waist. a sort of special belt of a special color. I'm not gonna get my hair cut. I'm not gonna do any of that. Can I ask you, JM, what would happen to me if I did that as a Christian?
Well, I don't know. What did they say is the punishment? Death?
I'm just asking, what do you think will happen to me?
Probably death.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I'm gonna just respond to what he said. So JM, first of all,
This is
he
not
presented
disingenuous Muslims are.
wait, no. As I said to you
This is
before,
not disingenuous Muslims are.
every time you
Let
lie,
him answer,
I will
Nelson. Let him
correct you.
respond.
This
Every
is how
time you
disingenuous
lie-
Muslims are.
Look how
But let
every
him
time you
respond. Let him
lie,
respond, Nelson. Let him respond.
every time you lie, I will correct you. So JM, please, if you can remind me, if I forget a few things, just remind me of what lies Octavio said, or what statements he said. Right?
Okay.
He said the dhimmi means second-class citizen. Is that correct?
That's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not
That's
true.
not what I said. That's what their document said.
The word dhimmi does not mean second-class citizen. The word dhimmi, because the term second-class citizen is a European construct. No, the citizen, second-class, two-tiered systems. These are European constructs. So even in the language, you know there's some deception there. Why would the Middle Eastern use terms that originate from European culture, right? The word dhimmi means protected. It means protected.
Means what? So we're protected.
Yes.
From what?
The protected people. Right?
From
You can
what?
Google. You can literally
From
Google it
what?
right
What am
now.
I protected from? I'm asking you. What am I protected from?
Can I finish my point, please? Can I finish correcting you? I'm gonna finish correcting you.
No, every time you tell a lie,
I'm gonna correct
I'm going to interrupt. Every time
Google
you
the
tell a
word
lie,
dhimmi.
I'm going to
Literally,
interrupt.
Google the
If
How
word
do you spell the word? How do you spell the word?
I don't even know. Dhimmi. It should be here. DHIMMIS or ES.
DHIM.
What's it? DH.
IMMI, yeah.
Yeah.
A non-Muslim, a dhimmi is a non-Muslim subject of an Islamic state who is granted legal protection and the right to practice their religion in exchange for loyalty to the state and payment of the jizya tax.
That doesn't sound like second-class
The
citizen.
term literally translates to protected person.
Oh, wow, thank you. Okay. It's like you had 3 central doubts today. So anyway, secondly,
what am I protected from?
Secondly, now that's a great question. What are you protecting from? Me?
Yes.
No. Look, I'm speaking to JM. You've loaded lies to this person who's an objective third party who's seems to be quite transparent about it.
Loaded lies, I like that.
Loaded full of lies.
We just watched a video of a Muslim breaking it down for me, and now
I don't care about
practicing Taqiyya in front of us.
You don't care about random rabbis calling your God a liar and a blasphemer who's being boiled in hell. I don't care about some guy in Birmingham. Okay, forget what that brother's saying, bruv. We're gonna put the Muslims in the thing, bruv. They gotta do this, bruv. I don't care about him.
It doesn't even make sense.
That's what he said.
That doesn't even make sense. That's a false comparison.
I don't care about that brother in Birmingham.
You're just lying.
I don't care. Now that's first of all. So he lied about the term dhimmi. Can I finish my correcting you, please? You made your statement. I'm correcting it. And then you can carry on.
Calm down.
Let me hear Nelson. I want to hear this.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear what Son said.
So you're protected in the sense that you do not have to serve in the army. That's what protected means. Second, and your rights are protected.
Let him finish, Nelson. I want to hear it.
No, where does it say that?
Your rights are protected. This isn't a classical literature, because the word dhimmi didn't come from Umar.
Where does it say that?
It came from Prophet Muhammad, who's an authority in Islamic religion. Omar is a caliph, right? That's one.
He's not answering.
You didn't.
Nelson. I'm continuing.
He's not answering the question.
Hold on.
He's going unchallenged. He's going unchallenged.
Hold on, Nelson. I'm continuing to read. It says, derived from Islamic legal conceptions of membership of society, non-Muslim dhimmis are afforded protection by the state and do not serve in the military.
Yes.
So that's what it's protected from. Getting killed in the war.
What am I protected from?
Huh?
Protected from serving in the military. They don't have to.
Sorry?
They're protected from enemies, meaning you are part of the state.
Not serve in the military, it says.
Yes.
Why can't I serve in the military?
Because
Okay,
there's a protection there.
we're going down.
Right.
We're going down the path.
What if I don't want the protection?
You've spoken. You've lied. I'm correcting your lies. Please allow me to carry on. Now, you're protected in the sense that you don't have to serve in the military. Secondly, you pay less tax than the Muslim. The Muslim pays more tax than you. It's not that you pay tax for being a Christian and the Muslim pays nothing. Because you haven't read the jurisprudence for Islam, have you? You're just picking out a random verse from a random.
Show us.
Okay, can I finish? Right.
Show
I'm
us.
thinking the JM. I'm correcting your lies.
Show us. You can't show us.
JM.
I'm listening.
Google, do Muslims have to pay tax in a Muslim state?
Well, you should know me by now.
I know.
I'm way ahead of you.
Do Muslims have to pay more tax than the non?
It does. It says the tax was the only tax imposed on non-Muslims, and it was less in number and amount than taxes on the Muslims. So you're right.
Say that again. The non-Muslims.
It says the jizya tax was the only tax imposed on non-Muslims, and it was less in number and amount than taxes on the Muslims on that state. So they were paying less tax.
So Octavio, unfortunately, Rabbi Octavio, loyal to the state of Israel, has presented the Muslims as an enemy and an oppressor that treats the non-Muslim worse than the Muslim. When it turns out you have more privileges, pay less in taxes, and are protected.
No, he's right though, so sorry, he's right on that.
Objectively.
Right, yeah? Okay, hold on a second. Can I speak now?
I'm gonna round it off. I'm gonna round it off. Now, on the other hand, to condemn the Jewish state as it stands today, that it is the state as an affront to the mess, because there should be no state of Israel, considering Jesus already come and they should have accepted Jesus and so on, and he's the Messiah. But that's a whole nother issue. When they today treat Muslims as second-class citizens, when they treat Christians as peace people being worthy of spat upon, there is no condemnation of the state and how it behaves. In fact, the Muslims are still being presented as a hypothetical threat when there's a practical degradation of the Christian identity as within the state of Israel as it is, right? The double standard is consistent, but I'll let you carry on with your lies.
All right, okay. I just
up soon though, guys. Yeah.
Hold on. I asked. Yeah. We're gonna end it. We're gonna end it soon. We are protected citizens. I was trying to ask, what are we protected from? Because I don't think anyone, any Christian, what are we protected from? We just been conquered. What are you protecting us from? Oh, you don't have to serve in the army. Okay. Now, when I go through the entire Pact of Ummah, it says that I have to wear a different belt. It says that I have to have a certain specific haircut. It says that if a Muslim wants shelter in a church, a Christian has to give it to them. It says that apparently I'm not supposed to ring my church bells. It says that I'm not supposed to preach on the streets. It says that, is this what am I being protected from? Because that's what the Pact of Ummah was. The Pact of Ummah. I literally have the document. This is unbelievable. This is actually crazy. Just to see a pro-black brother supporting this type of treatment, and he's supposed to be against the
slander.
It's supposed to be against the treatment. It's supposed to
stop questioning James' character.
I haven't defended anything.
There you go. You see how the devil
haven't defended anything.
Because it was getting too hot. No, hold on. I haven't finished yet. Everyone's getting triggered. I don't know why
you're lying.
I literally have a document in front of me that talks about, and bro, listen, I'll clip it all and I'll put it all up there. I've got the pro-black brother say, listen, this is subjugation. My brother said, oh, no, the jizya just means that you are protected. I kept asking him, what am I protected from? Because according to the document is very clear about how Christians and Jews should be treated. And the document doesn't, I'm not going to listen to Hassan in 2025. I'm going to listen to the third caliphate in 637.
The second caliphate.
Hold on. No, it's actually the third caliphate.
Oh, actually, you're right.
And what do you call it? And Muhammad died in 632. He understood the religion better. He's the one who wrote the thing because he wrote. I'm still seeing. He wrote the document according to what you call it, according to the Quran and the Hadith. And when you check the Hadiths, you see verses like when you walk, don't greet the Christians, and when you see them on the road, force them to the narrowest road. This is a Hadith. When you it's like Hadith after Hadith. They're talking about killing all Jews and all of that. Listen, it
Not
makes
true. Not true.
Hold on.
True. Lies.
The thing is, one thing that Hassan never addressed in everything that he said, it was actually what the document said. And the reason why
I didn't address it because you will not answer the question.
I asked a simple question. I'm still talking. I asked a simple question. What are we protected from?
No.
And according to Hassan, the reason why Hassan didn't go into what the actual Pact of Umar says, all he said was, you have to pay the jizya because you don't have to enter the army. That's it. That is it. He never mentioned, hey, listen, man, I don't know about, Christians have to cut their hair. Do you deny that the Pact of Umar says that that Christians have to have to cut their hair in order to be recognized by by the Muslims? Do you deny that Christians have to wear a separate belt? Do you deny that Christian churches have to give hospitality to Muslims if they want to come inside the church? Do you deny that the Pact of Umar says that?
I don't deny it.
Thank you.
I haven't read it. I have to verify it because you are known to not tell the truth. But if I'm you're most likely right. But here's my issue. Stop praising yourself because I'm still speaking and that praise is going to deflate very quickly. Why are you focused on the caliph when he is not the representative of Islam? He was just a caliph.
Hold on. A religious leader. Listen to what Brother Hassan just said. A religious leader is not representative of Islam.
Would you like me to clarify or elaborate?
A religious leader, it's like me saying the Pope is not representative of Islam.
Oh, okay. So the popes are representative. Excuse me. Are the popes representative of Christianity?
Yeah,
the papal bulls
yes.
saying go and enslave the Africans and subjugate them and trap free men and humiliate them in all types of ways. That is representative of Christianity?
Yes, he's a religious leader and he represents Christianity.
Great point, Hassan.
Yes, he's a religious leader and he represents Christianity.
You think less of Christianity than I do. And that really goes down to the heart of Christian Zionism. It is distort the faith to please a certain belief that the Jews are the special people or something like this, which is the core of the problem with Christian Zionism. Having said that, I won't focus on too much on how you've diminished the value of your own faith just to win the argument. That's a whole nother issue.
I already won the argument.
The reason, well, you've lost more than you can imagine, to be honest with you. Now, the point I'm making here is, why is there an emphasis on the caliphs? Let me ask you,
Jam, who won the argument?
I'm gonna do my final thoughts after this.
Who was that's a great, because let's wrap it up. It's kind of late. And we should do a part 2, to be honest with you, because this is
100%.
Done. You both are done. You don't even want part 2. Let's do it anytime. We can do it tomorrow. But you lot are done. I don't even know. How can you lot look at yourselves in the mirror right now?
I'd ask you the same thing. But who is the fourth caliph?
I told you not to go there, you guys.
Who's the fourth caliph?
Huh?
Who's the fourth?
I don't know, some Arabic dude.
It's Ali. Why do I focus?
It's not Hassan. I don't know what you so happen about. Hold on. Aaron McKay's been waiting, man. I listened to the whole thing and I'm almost go up. I will research the Pact of Umar and I'm sure I will understand it with its context and it won't change my position on Islam. That's a biased way of looking at things. Aaron, come on, man. Come on, bro.
It's the correct way.
No, it's not the correct way. Octavio working hard to land a big money contract as a Mossad propaganda. Nice one. I actually like that joke. That was actually a nice one. Hassan, you failed.
They pay better than most other ones.
Hassan, you failed as a Muslim tonight, man.
Having said
Aaron McKay definitely won as a Muslim. Octavio, you probably paid 10 times the tax that would be jizya. Do you know Do you not currently pay tax for an army to fight for your protection? No, I can actually join the army if I want to. What do you call it? And then next one, Hassan Cooking, mashallah, my brother. Jazakallahu Kariyan. Sorry, I'm butchering the Arabic. I'm butchering the Arabic here, man. You know what I'm saying?
You're doing well. You're doing well. You're
Oh,
actually
thank
better
you,
than you're actually better than you think.
It's Portuguese link.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's the Latin, the love language, whatever it's called. All knowledge is due to God. Whatever good I say comes from Him. Whatever ignorance comes from myself. So humility is required. Yeah. Having said that, the focus I have on the fourth caliph is that he is, as you said, the representative of Islam. Right? A caliph can, in a sense, make no mistakes. Or if they, whatever they say or do is absolute and is a representative of the faith, it is blessed by God, in a sense, from the Islamic perspective, right?
Okay, so do you condemn what he said then?
I'm asking you, is that how you see it?
No, do you condemn what he said?
I'm asking you the question.
If you think that he might have made an error, if you think that he might have made an error, do you condemn what Umar said?
Okay, so he's not going to answer the question. Now, the point I'm making is, if you look at the fourth caliph, who's Ali, you will look into his story and you would look into the fact of the conflicts he had. Do you know who he went to war with at one point?
Probably the Christians, man. Probably
it was the wife of the Prophet Muhammad.
Muslims been fighting with each other for a long time, bro.
So the fourth caliph goes to war, or it was the other way around actually. The wife that you know quite well, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with them, went to war with the fourth caliph, who's Ali.
I'm bored of Aisha, to be honest.
Ali, who you've heard, whose name you've heard. JM, have you heard Ali before?
No.
Okay, Ali is the is related to the Prophet through tribal relations. He's quite high up. He's the fourth caliph, right? All the Shia belief systems come from him.
Okay, I get
the second, so he's quite important. Not that he inspired it, but they see him as these important. They see him as the rightly guided caliph, meaning he should have been first, before Uthman, before Umar, before Abu Bakr. And the conflict between her, the Prophet Muhammad's wife, and Ali is what sparked the Shia sect. And you know the Shia sect.
Hassan is just triggered at this point.
Now, the reason I give that example is you have a man who's the caliph, an important position in Islam, where the Prophet Muhammad said, I think it was referring to him. I'd have to double check it. If there was a prophet to come after me, no, he referred to his own. You have the wife of the Prophet Muhammad, Aisha, who's well known, who's mentioned as the mother of the believers in the Quran, the mother of the believers, right? I'd have to double check it though. I'd have to get the reference before the live ends. And you have the fourth caliph going to war with each other. Now, at that point, as a Muslim, am I supposed to say this one is a kuffar, or that one's a kuffar, or this one's going to hell, or that one's going to hell? No. As a Muslim, we say they made a mistake. They shouldn't have gone to war. It is between them and Allah. Now, if Umar bin Khattab, a caliph, not the prophet of God, decides to put a measure in place that would be seen negatively 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 100, 1,400, 2,000 years down the line and said, hey, this is wrong. And am I supposed to throw out the religion and say, oh, he did it, therefore we must do it all times, therefore we cannot question it, therefore if you reject this, you reject Islam? No, he's a caliph. He put measures in place that maybe in the context meant something else, maybe at the time meant something else, or maybe he made a mistake. Who knows? I'm not in a position of knowledge. I'm not one to speak recklessly when it comes to Islam, even to the point where somebody who says Islam is not applicable to today and you've got to have sex with 50 women and I believe in the power of people people should have the right to insult the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even then, I'm not going to call them kuffar. I'm going to say, hey, I know my levels. I don't agree with what they're saying, but I'm not going to go out there and say the kuffar. I'm going to look at the Pact of Ummah and I'm going to say, well, maybe there's some things wrong I wouldn't apply here. I can see how it would be wrong here, but I'm not going to reject Umar. And I'm not going to double down and say he did the right thing and this is the correct thing, whatever it is. It's not my place to say that. But to say and to lie and say this is how Muslims will treat non-Muslims in positions of power, and that a Muslim is a second-class citizen, a non-Muslim is a second-class citizen, and they're this and they're that, is disingenuous to say the least. And then on top of that, to say the murder of innocent people to preserve the state of Israel is rightly guided, supported by Yahweh in any way, shape, or form, is delusional and dishonest. And I think it's cognitive dissonance in its purest form, and it's not anything associated with Christianity. It's a red herring by any definition.
Hello?
Okay. Can I do
Hello. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Go ahead. Is this JM?
My final thoughts, yeah?
Yes. What's your final thoughts, JM? What would you have? Tell me how right I am. Go on.
So my final thoughts is I knew that in this discussion there would be a lot of cognitive dissidence going on, but I didn't know it would be to this extent. I have to say, I'm actually quite shocked. Not surprised though, actually, but still shocked by it, because I think it's clear now that how can I put it? It's clear to me that this is a clear example of when a hatred for a group of people overtakes common logic and decency. It's sad to say that, but I do actually believe this is what's taking place. And I think that's an indictment on someone's faith, the original core faith, if it allows them to engage in this type of behavior. Because there is no way that anyone can justify a group of people who have disdain for you as in your essence, what you believe, the core tenets of your faith. They spit on it, they condemn it, they blaspheme against it. For you to then have any reverence for those people to engage in criminal, vicious acts against another group of people, just because you don't like those people more, yeah, that to me is a little bit, it's suspect to say the least, because there's no way that Christianity would, in its purest form, would have any time or day for a group of people who believe that their God is a false prophet. It literally goes against common sense. It's a logical fallacy almost. Now we're engaged in logical fallacies, and I think it's important for everyone to notice that Nelson blundered badly when I asked him those two questions. Number one, is Judaism a false religion? He admitted that Judaism is a false religion because he understood that most of its adherents believe that Jesus is a false prophet. Hence, it's a false religion. I then asked him, could the adherents of a false religion lay claim to the Holy Land classified by the very God they disagree, they don't believe in, and they consider to be a false prophet? He also said yes to that. As Hassan said, that's the clearest example of cognitive dissidence you can see. Is there a cure to it? I don't know. I don't think Nelson's ever going to wake up out of that. I like to, in terms of part two, I would like to examine the cognitive dissidence and find out why there's such a thing as a Zionist Christian. What is the root? Because it can't be just the hatred of Muslims. It can't be as simple as that. There has to be something else there that we haven't fully examined yet, and maybe we can do that in part two, which really now starts to look at where does this cognitive dissidence come from, what is the root of it. But I say we'll save that for another show.
Go ahead, son.
I'd like to go last.
Hassan, I need you to go now, please.
Can I go last?
Okay, all right. You want to rebut what I'm going to say? All right, no worries. Hassan has committed shirk, and the clips will come out soon. JM, of course, he's coming from a racist view. He hates the fact that the Jews in there are white. He ignores what the scriptures say when it comes to the relationship between Jews and Christians, which is very, 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 very sad, which shows that what we are dealing with is not just cognitive dissonance, we're dealing with ignorance, period. JM hasn't read the Bible in years, similar to Hassan, who hasn't read the Quran in a very long time. No wonder why he still holds the views that he holds. Now, when it comes to the relationship of the Jews and Christ, it's really silly, because every time I read the Bible, it's like, why am I even having these conversations? It's like having a conversation with a toddler. It's like he keeps asking the same question, but he won't do his homework and actually read the scriptures. If he reads the scriptures, he will understand what the relationship is between Christianity and the Jews. We share the same God. Yahweh is God. We believe in the Father. The Father is Yahweh. So the Christians believe in it. The Jews believe in it. And we are not going to not accept the Jews because they reject Christ. Yes, they do reject Christ, but do they reject Yahweh? No, they don't. Do Christians reject Yahweh? No, they don't. So, and we have the same prophets, we have the same history. So it's like, to call it cognitive dissonance, I think it is cognitive dissonance when a non-Christian, a pagan, someone who comes from the what do you call it, is it Jehovah's Witnesses that came in the 1800s? We do not pay attention to such people because they are not Christians. They do not come from 2,000 years of history. They do not understand what the scriptures say. It's very sad for me to even have to acknowledge them, but unfortunately I have to acknowledge them for the sake of the base, because I am in the public sphere, and yeah, I have a channel, and I have hatred for Muslims. No, I've said this many times. I don't have no hatred for Muslims. Muslims are made in the image of God. If you, it's like this trying to attack my character and say that I have hatred for Muslims. It just shows. You know what it shows. You know, they don't want to deal with the reality of what Islam teaches, and what Islam teaches is hatred for Christians and Jews. They call for the death. They call for the eliminations of Christians and Jews. And they deal in Taqiyya. These people literally lie for a living. Is Judaism a false religion? I said, no, Judaism. How is Judaism a false religion if we believe in the God of Abraham, God of Jacob? It's like, what the hell am I doing here? This is ridiculous. It's like I'm talking to children. How can it be a false religion? No, the Talmud is false. The Talmud came 400 years after. Yes, the Talmud is false. So if you're talking about Judaism in the sense of accepting the Talmud as the fight, and the Talmud is not a religious, it's not divinely inspired. It's not something that Jews hold to it dearly in their hearts. What the Talmud basically is just commentary. Is rabbis' commentary of the scriptures. Why? Because they had to survive outside of Israel in the New World. So what they've done is they reinvented the religion. Not reinvented the religion, because you can't reinvent the religion, because the Hebrew scriptures is there. Christians hold to it. We've got thousands and thousands and thousands of manuscripts. So you can't really get rid of the religion. But the thing is, what it is just a bunch of rabbis commenting on what they think should be, what they think the Talmud said. So what they think what the Torah says, and the Ketuvim and the Nevim, they're commenting on what it says. And they mention Jesus Christ as well. They're commenting on these things because they have to survive outside of Israel because the Romans got rid of them. So what's it? I think I mentioned the fact that Hassan committed shirk. The clip is coming out soon. Hold on a second. I mean, Hassan admitted. He admitted that he failed to condemn the Pact of Umar, and I challenge him to condemn the Pact of Umar right now and everything that the Pact of Umar says right now. If he thinks the Pact of Umar is wrong, if he thinks the Umar got something wrong, blah blah blah, let's see Hassan condemn it right now. Right in his final thoughts. He will not do it because he can't. He actually agrees with it subconsciously, agrees with it. It's called The Dominant Ideology, guys. Book coming soon. Says we need to examine cognitive dissonance of hatred of Muslim. Listen, I'm gonna quote Hassan right now, and I'm gonna say, JM, you should just become a Muslim. You should just become a Muslim, bro. You're almost there. You're almost there. Once we get past the whole pedophilia thing, you are there, my brother. You are pretty much there. The hatred for Christianity and the Jews is there. It's solid already. All we need you to do is just get past the pedophilia bit, and you'll be fine. And you'll be there. Now, in regards to my brother Hassan here, Hassan is gonna call me a liar. And yet, I'm going to ask him a few questions because I'm going to counteract the entire bullshit. And how am I going to counteract the entire bullshit? I'm going to counteract the entire bullshit. I'm going to ask him to condemn certain things, which I predict. This is like a scientific theory. You know what I'm saying? I predict Hassan will not be able to condemn all the scriptures in the Quran that talks about, when you see a Christian, don't greet him and throw him and force him to the narrowest part of the road. He will not condemn the Pact of Umar and what the Pact of Umar actually says. He will not do any of that because he can't. As a Muslim, it's impossible. You know what I mean? And the fact that he committed shirk by calling Muhammad God, by saying he's divine, and then appealing to a pro-black, it is very worrisome. That is very worrisome. This is why, in the end, I don't know if you guys noticed or paid attention, Hassan turned around and he said, "Look, whatever I said in stupidity, or something like that, I'm paraphrasing, but whatever I said in stupidity, may Allah forgive me." That, well, of course, that's not me saying that. This is what Hassan said, but it was something in line with those words. And the reason why he said that, because he knew what he said. He committed shirk. And then I saw you two dancing around, talking about how what did you say? You said in line with this, right? In line with that. You look ridiculous. You'll see it from the clip. Both of you actually talking to each other. You look really ridiculous. You guys came after me. You guys created a thumbnail. How does it feel? I thought so. Next time, behave yourselves. We can have the part 2 tomorrow, but I doubt you guys gonna want to go there because of the whooping that you guys got tonight. Hassan, it's all yours, baby.
Did you want to ask me some questions? Or?
Your final thoughts, Hassan?
I think you said you were going to ask me some questions, but fair enough. I'll have my final thoughts. So yeah, in terms of me committing shirk, which is the one part that I really just focused on, the rest of it just seemed like general gibberish. A man was sitting with the Prophet Muhammad once, and he said, "Allah is my servant and I'm his master." And the Prophet Muhammad looked at him and he said, "Allah knows what you meant." I'm paraphrasing here. The hadith goes into a bit more details. But what the words that he said were kufr. But his intentions were, Allah is my master and I'm his servant. That's what and the Prophet Muhammad confirmed it before he even tried to correct himself, right? So in response to when JM said, "Is this a divinely guided person?" or something along those lines, and I said, "No, this is not a prophet. This is just Umar, a caliph." That's what a caliph is. A caliph is not a divinely appointed person. It's not me confirming that Prophet Muhammad is God. Prophet Muhammad is not God. Never was, never will be. Just a prophet. A clip taken out of context or misunderstood or misrepresented or taken out of its true meaning, I don't care. Secondly, because Allah knows my intentions. Secondly, I said, in response to what Aaron McKay was saying, Aaron McKay said, "You're cooking, mashallah, brother. Jazakallah khair, you're doing well. Thank you for the encouragement. But all praise is due to Allah, and whatever mistakes I make is from me, and whatever good comes from Allah." That's a general statement Muslims say in response to Jazakallah khair or you're cooking or something along those lines when a person is praised. It's not good to praise oneself. That's it. That was for me. It's a reminder for me to be humble, even when I'm eviscerating my Christian Zionist opponent. Fourthly, or thirdly, the cognitive dissonance, all praise is to Allah, the cognitive dissonance, the core of this Christian Zionism and cognitive dissonance may be that it taps into the ego of the self-perceived Christian. Because we're objecting to the perception that Octavio has. And I feel like Octavio is taking this as an objection to his identity, to himself. It's not about you. It's not about the state of Israel. It's not about Jesus. It's about the death and destruction of and the murder of innocent people, and how when a Muslim does it, it's called out. When a Jew does it, there are qualifiers and there are quantifiers and there's justification. It's not consistent to the teachings of the Bible, which makes a person question this belief system because it's not attached to the belief of Christianity in any way, shape, or form, in my belief. Fourthly, condemning the pact of Ummah. A Muslim can't do it because if you condemn Ummah, you're rejecting Islam or something along those lines. You actually said that about Aaron McKay, right? Umar is just the caliph. I've given an example of a caliph going to war with the wife of the Prophet Muhammad, who's said to be the believer, the mother of the believers. Not literally the mother of the believers, but figuratively stating her position in a high status. Caliphs can make mistakes. Caliphs can do something wrong. The Prophet Muhammad corrected many of the people around him at the time and their behavior and said, do not do this, do not do that. You are wrong for this, you are wrong for that. You should be punished for this, you should be punished for that. This is the Prophet Muhammad rebuking them right in front of his people and saying that they're doing wrong. So is it possible that they would have made mistakes? Is it possible that Umar was maybe incorrect in his I haven't read the details because I don't want to slander I don't want to take the word of a Christian Zionist representing or misrepresenting Umar in any way, shape, or form. Is it possible that he may have made some things mistakes or what? Yeah, of course it's possible. I haven't read it, but I accept the idea that he would. Is the idea of persecuting Christians simply because they're Christians acceptable in Islam? No. The hadiths and the context, I've read enough. There is no persecution of Christians simply for being Christians, simply for following Christ. In fact, they're a protected class, as you've said it yourself. Well, you heard it yourself. Christian Zionism is attached to the ego and not attached to Jesus. It is antithetical or opposed to Christianity. Because once you question it, you're questioning the individual and their belief systems for some reason. And I don't know why. Those are my final thoughts. Thanks for having me on there.
I told you guys you wouldn't. Anyways, I enjoyed it, guys. Nice try next time. Anyways, we're gonna do a part 2. Shouts to Aaron McKay, shouts to JM, and shouts to Hassan. I love these brothers. We go back and forth all the time. Nothing personal, guys. Okay, it was just a bit boring in the beginning. I just wanted to make it a little bit more entertaining, but you guys were kind of getting on my nerves as well. So I had to kind of, you know what I mean, really let you guys, you know what I mean, punish you guys really. But nevertheless, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know Hassan is still bitter. James is like, oh, I hate that guy. But anyways, man, you guys gonna get over it eventually. Love everyone that's gonna watch this, and everyone that's participating, including brother Aaron McKay. And shout out to these brothers, man. Love one.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Take it easy.